125th, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Orlando, Indianapolis, Houston, and now,
Yeah.
Black Ink Radio.
I'm chilling, man. I can't call it.
There's Mr.
I'm just up here up top right now.
Okay, you made a move.
Yeah, you already know, man. I be making moves like you, huh?
You feel me?
You know what I mean?
I hear you, brother. Right. That's how you got to do it.
Yeah, man. I'm up here. I got a few things I'm doing out here in Philly for the week, and then I'll be back out there with y'all next week.
Mr. Flow flowing.
Mr. Move, Mr. Money, moving man, money man.
That's you, dog. I would get to your level so I can just stay in one place. I be moving around all the damn time.
You ain't gonna like it, man. Sometimes it's just fun to move sometimes.
Right. I just want to travel internationally and go in the house. That's it.
I like that.
Travel
internationally and go in the house.
Yeah, man.
That's the
What's
best
up, Kamasi Project 2021? Definitely looking forward to speaking with you on the second hour and get into some interesting things. Yeah, this is going to be a very, very awesome interview just because I know the history and the wisdom and information that this sister has. Like, I've been on the clubhouses, I've been at the house, and yeah, Sage and Kamasi, yeah, Abrafi, they gonna go in, man. I might have to jump out of there and just let y'all go one-on-one because y'all, man, y'all might have a what's that TD Jakes joint called? Woman's Hour at Loose?
You know what? I'm done. I'm done.
Y'all about to have a Woman's Hour at Loose on Monday.
Hey, my Woman's
Y'all
Hour
about
at
to be
Loose
going.
includes the men and the children, brother.
Listen, man, y'all be out here. Y'all some powerful women, man. So shout out to y'all.
Shout out to us.
Right.
Shout out to the, like 354, my mother, she is on here.
Hey, Dr. Bradley.
Dr. Bradley Bay is in the building. She is in the room.
Yes.
And then my two sisters, Brafi and Sage. So shout out to y'all women, y'all sisters.
Right, and shout out to all of our co-hosts that's MIA that doesn't feel well today that can't join in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big up. A few of them is under the weather.
Oh, that sucks.
New bug going around. What's that about?
I know, man. I gotta protect them. I know, especially this weather about to break. I can feel it already a little bit over here in Philly.
Oh, it's chilly?
You know what? It's like it's kind of getting to that like little breeze when it's about to start getting cold, where it's like it'd be perfect during the daytime, but then like when that like 6 o'clock hour hit, it just kind of like get a little breezy where it's like, all right, you need your hoodie.
Well, it's kind of frisky up here now. Like she got on a hoodie, I got on a thermal. It's not hot.
Oh, see,
it's not hot.
Right. I took my joint off.
It's a city thing. We
right.
hoodied out.
Yeah, but you know that's an up north thing. So
yeah,
you
right.
know,
I'm about to say I stay with a hoodie. I got a billion hoodies.
I'm hoodied up.
I got
hoodies in the crib.
Yeah.
Right.
Mine's for different reasons. No, I'm joking.
Right. Not no more.
Hoodie season is almost upon us.
I'm a good guy.
Yes. Yes. So I'm excited about our guest this evening too.
Tell us a little bit about that person.
Get on. Well, we're gonna let them do that.
Oh, let them do that.
Yeah.
My bad. Let me not spoil it. I'm a little anxious.
I want to actually go into speaking about our youth.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, I want to talk about some youth. I want to talk about some unity, and I want to talk about some solutions that we can come up with to gear our youth in the right direction. Pick some minds. Ow.
Stimulate.
Ow.
Educate.
To all the mothers and sons. I know that's right.
Yeah, we definitely got to help the youth, though.
Yes. So let me ask you a question. I'm going to actually start with Richmo before I get to you, Miss Flo. I'm going to ask you a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about the future of the black community?
To be honest, like man, 1 to 10, like 15. To be honest, man, because I really feel sorry for us. You know what I'm saying? Because we have been, we set ourselves back. I don't know. I like to take accountability, so I want to say we set ourselves back. We like the only race community, whatever you want to call it, that don't really unify like we've been saying. It's just and then these kids are growing up to be even more separated amongst each other. Like they really, they're killing each other way more now than before. Before there was, I feel like there was, and I hate to say this, but it was more reason before. There was even more rules. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in my projects, I seen niggas try to kill each other, but then if I see you with your moms, hi Miss Rodriguez. I look at you like you lucky nigga.
Right.
But guess what? I say hi to your moms and give you the look of death. You feel me? And then be shooting at you later, I'm trying to send her to a funeral, but I ain't gonna do it in front of her as respect.
Right.
That's not present at this point. So I feel like it's just getting so bad where we really need guidance. They need guidance, honestly, because I know where I'm at with it. They need guidance. So yeah, I'm a little scared. I feel sorry, and I just feel like we getting deeper and deeper into a rabbit hole that we need to be pulled out of, or else it's just gonna be bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For real. I feel like we just, we need to do something about it. We lost, I feel like even in the time when we lost Martin Luther King, when we lost Malcolm X, I don't even know how important people knew around that time what was happening. We're glorifying men now that was looked upon as bad people then. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Malcolm X he ain't go out in a good light.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? He ain't go out in a good light at all, but now you praising him. Martin Luther King, it wasn't, they was marching and stuff, but there was other people that was on the same level as him. He got glorified because he died. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is just, we really need to get it together as a people and understand that ain't nobody gonna do it for us but us. And if we don't do it, then it's like, all we gonna do is continue to lose and get the end of the stick. You know what I mean? That's it. We're gonna get the short end of the stick.
The short end of the stick.
For real.
What about you, Mr. Flo?
So yeah,
Scale of
on
1
a
to
scale
10.
of 1 to 10, I say a bean. Like, you know what? I'm optimistic or hopeful, and I'm a little scared. I'm optimistic just because I know with this new generation of, you know, I'm learning, and being like in that, I guess what they say, millennial kind of like, it's just, we have our ways of how we are being vocal and utilizing our voices in different ways. Where I know a lot of the, you know, older generation, I would say they had their way of how they would, speak up and raise a route. My thing is, like I said, it's just unification and just putting our pride and egos aside and really coming together and unifying and really developing, our resources and really strategically planning and doing the necessary things. It's funny. I was watching a video last night on Dr. Claude Anderson, and the topic was racism and economics. What's up, Unc?
What's up, Aunt?
Yo, how are
My
you,
aunt, my
family?
bro.
We great. We are great.
I could be your uncle too,
I knew you was gonna say that.
young girl,
Right.
young Philly Joe. I'm sorry, nephew.
Go ahead.
Continue. I was just getting back on. How's everybody? Rich Mo, everybody. Blessings. I'm
Blessings,
sorry, I'm
blessings.
Yeah,
behind
brother,
schedule.
blessings. You good?
Oh no, you good. So no, I was just gonna say, like I
Get
said,
to
so
see what I'm saying.
with the just with the way of how folks need to come together, and Dr. Claude Anderson was just basically talking about with black folks, he was just like yeah, we like Rich Mo was saying, like we like the only race that people are going to continue to just down and just like come down on hard just because at the end of the day we ain't got no economy. We ain't got no strong sense in the community where it's like The only thing is like, all right, cool, we gonna do something to they people. Then, all right, all they gonna do is go out and march and protest against stuff. And it's like, but really strategizing and being smart. And
Right.
yeah, so but I'm hopeful because with different people that's coming up and brothers like Nipsey Hussle and people like that were utilizing their voice and actually doing it and not just glorifying like, all right, yeah, I'm this dude, I'm this gangster that's out here spreading this, but empowering folks and utilizing their platform as artists and voices to really uplift and inspire people to to be the change instead of just instead of just talking about it all the time. So I'm hopeful that that we get it together. But yeah, it's just we just got to break traditions and it's really mentality.
Can you send it out to Celia? I'm sorry. Great, that's good. I'll ask Uncle MJ when he gets back in, but I'll segue back into my second question. I'll start with Rich Mo. Um,
Did we breathe out?
oh, okay, you back.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
back.
so
I'm sorry.
so
I'm
let
having
me get
difficulty.
your input on what question that I asked. I had three in general, but and then also first before I ask your question, let me just quote what Dr. Bradley Bay said. Martin Luther King did not die. He was not glorified because he died. He was glorified because he stood up.
No,
He
I,
stood up.
I, I agree with that. What I was trying to say was there was a lot of other people that stood up as well. But it's like y'all don't give it, y'all, as we say, get his flowers. I don't feel like he really got his flowers until he was gone. That's what I'm saying. I'm not
Oh
saying
no, you mean that they missed him
It's
because
all
they
right.
couldn't see the value of his presence
while
while he
he
was
was here,
alive.
exactly. So
Okay,
that's what I'm
that's what you're
saying.
saying. Okay,
Sometimes you wait till it's too late.
it's too late.
When you have somebody that's trying
Right.
to really help. That's
And
what I
that's
meant.
something that has
But
to
you
be done
absolutely
now.
right. It was because he stood up.
Because he stood up.
I'm just saying there's a lot of other people that's standing, but at the end of the day, it's like, we beat each other down. Oh, you standing up, but then we start. Oh yeah, but he sleep with these type of women, or he's dead. You know what I mean? Like,
That don't mean nothing.
yeah, but we do that to each other, and
Right.
that's not good. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like.
Do you see that?
But
Right.
you're absolutely right.
So the
That's
question,
amazing. Yeah.
MJ, was on a scale to 1 to 10, how concerned are you about the future of our race? Okay, and outside of the not even just the human race, our race, meaning people that look like you and I, these melanated bunch up over here.
Scale of 1 to 10. How concerned am I for the future of our race?
Mm-hmm.
I would say 7
Okay.
is where I'm at. 7.5. I would say 7.5, and that is
That's
that
funny.
is
I would
the
expect nothing
scale.
less from
Is
him.
Right.
wait. Is the scale? Wait. I'm just trying to understand. Is the
No.
10 the highest concern or
Right.
the lowest
Right.
concern?
It's the
The
highest.
highest.
It's the highest.
Yeah, 7.5 is high concern. Uh, I could be at I could be at an 8, but I'm gonna say 7.5.
Elaborate, please.
Okay. I feel this progress. That's why I feel that we came a long way. We have a long way to go, but we've come a long way. I feel that with that progress, that people are like we're trying to do, bring people together, solution based. I feel that our people are more conscious. The older race are more open. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not older race. The older. Oh, I'm in the high bracket as far as age, but people that's older than me are even more aware, as opposed to them being as stuck in their ways or stubborn. I believe the reason for that is because of when they were younger, including myself, we did not have the modern technology and the technology as to see things at its right then and there. So older, including me, you, or whatever, we weren't able to see the police brutality unless it was right in front of us on our block. Now my mom, who is 70 something, bless her heart, she can look on social media and see it immediately, which allows her heart to open to more of the use of people who are way younger concerns. You know what I'm saying? Before it was stubborn, before it was we whatever, and now it's, oh, I get it. Let me get out here to the church as a grandmom and try to be more in the community. Even though I was, but now my my approach is different. When you take it from 76 to my age, now it's people are more aware, and then you have the youth who are really what you're referring to, which is my baby girl and her friends. And I honestly believe because of technology, they're smarter than us. They getting information quicker, they're disseminating information quicker, and if we help guide them with that information, then they can help in our future. You know what I'm saying? As far as making better choices, business decisions, financial decisions, all those types of things that we may or may not have gotten from our parents or our elders as much as we should. So 7.5 is only because I think we're moving in a forward motion as a people. The only reason why it's at a 7.5 is because we just need more of us to be on board. I think if more of us were on board with consciousness, I think the only issue is that people are for self now. It's a lot of selfishness. It's a lot of people who are not for a team. They're not team players. They're I. This is what I want, and no one has jumped in, and you know what I'm saying. And we don't really have any major leaders like we had back in the day to corral the masses together. You know what I'm saying. We don't have anybody that we're all looking to say, okay, this is dope. You know what I'm saying. This is a great idea. This is somebody that we can get behind. You know, an inspirational type of person. There's no one that's bringing all of us together. So that's the reason why it's a 7.5. But I believe it's hope. I believe that it's a potential of getting better. I think the number will drop if we as adults, the older, get with our children to help them along, to educate them on things the common things that we take for granted, how to use a credit card. Just because my daughter's 14 years old, some in society, certain people say, well, she shouldn't know how to use a credit card till she's 18. That's not true. If technology is moving fast, we should move fast with information. So if technology is fast, we should be fast to tell our children what these things are, because she know how to use DoorDash. I just found out. I'm 51 years old. I didn't know you could use DoorDash. She know how to do that. You see what I'm saying? So and know how to use the card in order to do it. She's 14. So if we get on board on that, you know, we'll be better. I think our future will be great. We just need to be better in giving information to our children quicker, so that someone else online or the things that they're seeing online, the influences, doesn't influence them. I think we should be able to do it quicker. Boom, we be ready. I think the number dropped to 4. I don't think it's ever going to be 0. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, okay. Thank you for that. I'm going to move right into my next question. And out of the people that's viewing, I would also like to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, your concern level as well. So
did you freeze? Oh, no.
Your concern level, that would be great. 1 to 10, how concerned are you about the future of our race, was the question. The next question I actually have, and I'm going to start with Rich Remote in studio, was, and there's only one. What do you think our problem is? Give me one.
Is that me? Who's that to?
No.
Rich Mo.
It's Rich Mo right now.
That's the Rich Mo. Okay.
I think our problem, to me, is organization.
Okay.
That's it.
Chase.
Trust.
That part. MJ.
Communication.
We need all that, though.
Yes, we do.
Good. You said communication?
Yes.
Okay. Same thing goes for the viewers. If y'all share y'all thoughts on that, that would be great. And I'm going to segue all the way down to the third question, which would be Rich Mo. If you was given the power to change our conditions, where would you start?
To change our conditions?
To change our conditions, where would you start? If you said that your concern was over the limit, 15, organization is what we need, you feel we need. You was given the power.
I would
change
start.
it, where
I
you
would.
start?
I mean, it'd be a lot of places that need to be attacked at once. But if I had to name one thing, I would start in the school.
Okay.
I would definitely start with the youth in the school because those are the future leaders.
Got you. Chase, where would you start?
Man, I had two in mind, but I guess the first one where I would start for me is the music. I would start
Okay.
because I feel like, where back then hip hop wasn't really as prevalent or wasn't as strong as it is now, and a lot of times just the impact like that these rappers have are like even stronger than the president. So, what I mean, I feel like, a lot of influence and stuff like that stems from the music and stuff that we kind of listen to.
And what was the other one?
I was going to say the music and then education.
Got you.
And
Uncle MJ, where would you start?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Ask the question one more time.
If you
So I
was
can get it
given
clear.
if you were given the power to change our conditions and our situation, where would you start?
put your face in.
How close could it be?
So basically, she was saying if you were given the power to basically reverse the psyche of the people, where would you start at?
Okay, so Sage, you've
You
been
froze.
freezing, so that's why you freeze on your side from time to time. So that's
yeah. I just put it in. I think the screen froze. Rich
Yeah,
Mo over here trying to
it-
fix something.
it's
I was trying to.
it's
the
cool.
battery's
Yeah,
dying.
nephew. Yeah, cool. Help me out. Okay.
Yeah, just
If
if you
I
could
was
change
given
it
the power
to change our
to change
conditions,
the
where would you
if I
start?
was given the power to change the psyche of the youth,
Not the psyche. If you could change the condition of us as a people,
the condition of
where
us,
would you start? Our condition.
economic empowerment.
Damn, that part as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
I would
About
love
all means.
another
Go ahead.
Rosewood or another
Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street.
Exactly.
I had a dream about that too, but go ahead. I ain't gonna get into that, but
Now
go
that's
ahead.
beautiful because that's what we're aligning for.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
we're uniting
exactly
for.
what. If I had the power to do that, that's where I would be.
I feel like with that, honestly, we would have to try to figure out a way to do something like that without it being like that, which is a location, because it's easy to destroy locations.
Well, it is, but it's not. You have to realize that. I mean, it's different now than it was before.
Yeah.
So it's not the same because we are integrated ridiculously.
Too
You know
much.
what I mean?
Okay,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
too much. The funny part
Destroying
is
us would be destroying themselves.
exactly. It would be
Okay.
pretty much destroying themselves. Now
Facts.
we do have slight territories throughout the cities because of course we got Puerto Rican neighborhood, we got little Jamaica, little Africa, little Chinatown. We got all of that going on in the community.
We'd
But
have to be
if
present
it
in
got
the
if it
middle.
was a bomb drop like it was, before, of course, it would affect all of us. They would have to wipe all of us out. But at this point, it would be no need. We can still integrate into what's already existence and build brands and unify right where we at. And I
Right in
think
there.
this is what we were talking about a few episodes ago. That was one of the blessings that came out of the integration. That once we reach economic freedom, we can actually thrive without, unless they just become a suicide bomber and be like, that's
crazy.
possible. But other than that, I don't see it. But everybody answers was 100%. I personally feel like what we need to thrive and unite. I mean, Rich Mo with organization, school, the youth. Chase said trust. we definitely trust more than anything, especially with dealing with our children more than anybody now in the black community, because we got a lot of wars that we're fighting within the black race. A whole lot of wars that was created and not by us. That's sad. So we do need the trust. The music, I think, was 100% smart because music has such a great, powerful influence. Our children can't stay away from it or off of it. The influence is great. So to put it in the music will also help education, MJ with communication, and of course, economic empowerment will take us over the bridge. So to get into, my scale is about. Did anybody list their scales? Anybody have a scale? I don't know. We going on and on and on. You're talking nationalism. I can't read the
Nationality.
Scroll. Oh, I can't even see it. That's why I said I can't even read the scroll.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely talking about the black community. So we are talking. She's basically asking how can we help empower the black community? Because a little while ago he said, and I quote, there is only one race, and that is the human race. Mm-hmm. We are the head of the human race. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to say that word.
I can't see it.
Primogenitors of the race. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, we are one race, the human race, for sure.
He said, we are returning back to our rightful place. Then he said, if you're looking for a leader, savior, devil outside of yourself, we have looked too far. The leader that you seek is within you. And then you're saying nationalization, and then you're talking nationality.
Right. And all of those things is true.
Right.
However, because some of the people needs to be led, it's going to take unification. I think it's going to have to be. I think the way this journey has transpired and went around because everybody is seeking economic freedom within themselves, and I think what MJ meant by this is why he rated a 7, that we're actually doing better. Because we're in positions that we weren't in before. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yes,
I
it
think
is.
it's because he realized that we're in positions that we weren't in before, so it looks as if we're doing better. I think Richmo came with a 15, and of course I believe his sense of urgency because in the beginning he stated the youth are dying at an extinction rate. So, the 15 was over the top. I'm past concern. Chase was at 100. For the same reason as he stated, too many deaths within the black race. And me, I'm at 1 billion. Same thing at 1 billion because, of course, like I stated last week, I am a black woman. And, my major concern is that 1.5 missing men from our neighborhoods. And with all of the deaths, I think we have, over 1,500 this year so far in the city of Philadelphia. Children, not elders, children that have been killed. An 8-year-old was just killed last night. A 12 and a 14-year-old the night before. So the rate that our young men, and of course that was a little girl that died yesterday, but the young boys are dying at the rate of an endangered species. That is statistically what they're saying about our race, the men that's dying in our race. So the concern level is high. And we don't want to take away, the gratefulness, I think, of how far, because I know I'm extremely grateful, how far we have came, how far our ancestors have brought us, and all of their sacrifices that they put in to get us to this point. However, I don't feel like being grateful, because I'm saying MJ just stressed gratefulness, and that's a great thing. But at the same time, we can't take it lightly either, because remember, a lot of us felt like we had great place on the plantation. If you worked inside the house, you were privileged. Yeah. If you worked to drive the horse and carriage around to get the slave owner to where he needed to go, that's privileged. You know what I mean? But it's the same thing, whereas though did they just transition? And if you think about the reason why we were enslaved to build America and the corporations of America, the brand that they actually have. And now what do they have us chasing? The bag, which is a brand.
The American dream.
Exactly, the American dream. So with that being said, just knowing that we're still positioned, that was one of the questions that I asked Fanatic last week, was why did you refer to the new NFL players or that as the new Negroes? And he felt as though it's because of how they have us positioned, how they're positioned in Hollywood, how we're positioned in terms of manufacturing, how we're positioned in terms of what's the other one? In the neighborhood. With religion.
Right.
Right. It's all a new form of slavery.
Yeah.
And it's like we lose sight because those are all the things, if you look at it, those are all the things that separate us and take us away from unification.
That's facts.
Right?
Right, but there's a caveat to that. So all of these missing black people are due to black people doing it. That's number one.
No. No.
Okay,
It's
so
not.
let's talk. Hold on one second now.
Let's talk about it.
Hold on 1 second now.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people that are dying in Philadelphia are not
right now?
dying
Yes.
by any.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, hear me out. Most of the black men and children that are dying in Philadelphia are not dying by any other race but their own. That's number
most
one.
definitely. No.
Okay,
Well, we won't say by their own because remember I said the 1.5 missing black men. Now what they doing in Philadelphia, yes, is an add-on to them. But what I'm speaking about in general is not just that. You understand what I'm saying? I know that because the book,
I don't know the statistics of those people who are dying outside of, like in Chicago. If we talk about, if we gonna have to be real on this station.
Listen, MJ.
Right. So
real is something that real. This is a real conversation, and this is the realness that I'm speaking about. When I say 1.5, that's due to death, drugs, incarceration, and homosexuality. This is the statistics of the black men that is missing from the community. Now, yes, I'm not leaving out the black on black crime because that's a segment in the book. Do black lives really matter? Because if they do, it has to matter when we're killing each other. We're talking about that, but what we're talking about is the lack of guidance of what he said the youth had. We can't really talk about the black on black crime or be so extra to say, oh, that's what they get, or they're causing that because of they have little to no resources either. Their neighborhood is gentrified. I mean, gangs and drugs is what the youth have to turn to. Y'all touched on it in the segment of the show, Gentlemanship. The drug dealer is accessible. This is what came out of y'all mouths, did it not? The reason why they're not pointing towards these people, because the local drug dealer is sitting right there to put the money in their pockets right then and there.
That's true.
So my point is, everybody leaves the community, but nobody comes back to the community to invest in the community and make it better. So there's going to be crime when there's no resources.
There's not enough people doing it. There's plenty of people who invest in their community. There's plenty of people who put other people on. It's just not as prevalent as someone who's as accessible. So that's the only difference. And what I mean by that is, there's a plenty of people like myself. I'm an entrepreneur of my own. I put many of us on a regular basis. I take pride in that. I'm in the community every single day.
No. We said
in
your community, not in that community. Your community now is where you live. You live in Atlanta, Georgia with me, but we come from the cities and the streets of Philadelphia.
We
said going back and investing in the community, not a new community where we find comfort, the community you left from.
Okay, I don't live in Philadelphia, but if I lived in Philadelphia...
Then you're proving my point. You're proving the
No,
point.
my point is I hire people that's not from my community, Sage. I have people who live in the lower end of the communities. I might live a certain way, but I reach back in. Is that a true statement or not? Cool.
No, but that's not the point. That's not the point that we're making. The point that we're making is if everyone that climb up out of the crab barrel and leave the community, like Rashid said, all we doing is leaving room for the next generation to grow up ghetto. Because nobody's going back investing in the community. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying, Chase?
So I get it. I mean, so basically, like what she's saying is, like, all right, we all came up from Philly. Let's say we all, hit it big, and we actually came back to the actual city and the actual neighborhood and created whatever that is. Now, like I said, you're doing what you're doing out in Atlanta, and the fact that there's some other young boy that came up rough out there, but the fact that you have a platform and that you have, means to bring somebody else up, So you're doing it from there. You might not physically be in Philly doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but you are in a way creating that opportunity of bridging that gap with somebody and bringing them up. So I get what you're saying, MJ, and but yeah, and I get what Sage is speaking on. Mainly just going to the places where we come from, like me growing up in Germantown, and the resources. If I have something to be able to implement to show children how to make music or just whatever it is that I excelled at, and I'm the rule of example that this is a successful person. So I got what you're saying.
Okay, so I'm not gonna and pardon me for interjecting, but I'm not. I am investing in Philly. I own investment properties where I have hired inner youth to help build the homes as we speak right now.
Yeah, all right, but that's a new project. You still missing the point. The point is
what I'm saying. It
you're
has
missing
to
the point.
start somewhere, Sage.
No, I get
It has
that,
to
MJ.
start somewhere.
No, I get
and there's
that.
plenty of people who are doing that. What I'm saying is,
Okay,
it's
so
just
there may
not
be
as
plenty
prevalent.
of people who have doing it, but not at the rate that them killing themselves due to lack of resources. Does that make sense? If there was love and care in the community, we would not have those. It's evident. It speaks for itself. It speaks for itself.
Okay, so I have a question direct.
Go ahead.
So I'm assuming that everything you or everyone that you know must have brought a whole community in Philadelphia right now. That's what I'm assuming.
What you mean?
So you must have bought like a whole neighborhood. You must have a whole
about to take place.
Infrastructure.
That's right. Oh, well, to make a long story short, yes, I have. And on this go around, hopefully, we're coming more impactful to the city of Philadelphia. The problem the first time around that we went, it was good, but we couldn't get into the change the ideology of the black people in the community because we had to go back and sit and see what separate us. And I just gave you those 3 examples that separate us. Religion is one. What else was the other one? Them not feeling like they actually want to invest in the kids because they too disrespectful, they too this or they too that. And it was the lack of concern. They didn't have any. Everybody of an older generation in the community, and I actually have this on film to be honest. Every last one that we went to block captains and talked to them. People that was neighborhood watch of the block. They complained about the youth, but no one would lift a hand to help them. No one. The children are not acting up because they had guidance. We cannot forget what the crack epidemic did to the community. There's no more barely any 2-parent home. Barely. So we're talking about fathers are in jail and incarcerated and grandfathers are nearly extinct. Who's caring for the children? The mom got to work now. She's in full masculine energy mode. Who's left to care for the children? I done been inside the school systems in Philadelphia.
I agree with that. I agree. That's part of the reason why it's a frustration for those like myself who is probably a small portion of people, according to what you're saying. What I'm saying is I know personally a lot of bros that are doing exactly what you're talking about.
Well, that's good. The nation have no problem with doing what we're about to do then. Nobody should have a problem.
They shouldn't. But what I'm saying is, I know, bro. It's just like the old stigma or the old back in the day thing where the black man left the house. Believe it or not, it's more black men in the house with their kids now, taking care of their family than it was back in the day. That's a known fact. That's without a doubt. But that's not talked about. Because what happens is people linger on what they remember and not what is in the moment now. People can't see the movement that's happening now because people are stuck.
I disagree. I think people are caught up with this visual aspect. This is why we have social media running rapid now. And I think it was Swallow that I heard say this. God is social media. No, he said Instagram. What did he say, Chase? We just seen this daggone post. Instagram, he said something is God, and social media is like the angels or some shit he said. But the funny part...
it was Instagram, our pastor,
something like that. But his point in saying it was true. Because everything is captured with the camera, I think that everybody buys into the hype. So yes, more men might show up with their kids and son, or they might show up to the release there with their son, but it's all putting on the show. Because if everything was peaches and cream, we would not be. I'm going to give you another example. Just like how you said we're doing better, so this is why, of course, you rated 7.5, and that's good. Because everything you're saying is good. Every part that you're adding to the calls is good. But that's just like saying, oh, there's no need for us to do certain things that we need to do today because we have billionaires and millionaires. But with all of the success and how far we come, we didn't come too far. We still have billionaires, one, as somebody pointed out before, if we can count them on one hand. And two, if we're still 224 years behind in wealth, the billionaire means nothing. Absolutely nothing because we're still this far behind. We're not caught up. It's like the same thing Fanatic said last week. We can't even start to get an economic base with having our own money because we don't have any resources. What Walmart hotels we own? Where they at? Nothing. Because every time black people get a bag, they got to attach it to somebody else's name. It's to somebody else's name. There's no brand of their own. There is none. So we're still stuck.
You know what's funny about what you just said too? And it's crazy. MJ, you said something about us doing better, and it's true.
We are.
But it's sad to a point that, some of the things that we doing better is only because we have social media. Mm-hmm. A lot of people only giving back the homeless to put it on their social media.
Exactly.
A lot of people only doing certain things so people could see it.
And that's sad.
Not because they want to do it.
That's what I was saying.
So if we didn't have this stuff, would they still do it?
That's what I was saying. Because people show up and they on their live with their kids and this, we think, that's good. That's what I was saying. But because it's not true. Because if we're dying at the rate that we're dying, that's evidence. How we're not paying attention to what's evident right in front of our faces, but we pay attention to everything that's on social media. Mm-hmm. And we have to.
So now I have an account with a black financial institution here in Georgia. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure if they have that in Philadelphia. I don't know if they have a black bank.
They have a black bank. They just did it about 3-4 years ago.
Okay, yeah, they have a couple of black banks here that I have money in. So the first thing that I'm saying, because of course we're solution based, and of course you're absolutely correct. Really, no other than the Jews, other than other nationalities, you're absolutely right. Owning property is a major part of economic development or just growing your own community. Now, if there's anybody on this live that have brick and mortar spots, which is a young lady who might have her own hair salon, or someone who might have a boutique for clothing, because I'm sure there's a lot of us that look like that has done that, and are established right now. What the issue is the three things. One, they don't take their money to the black financial establishments. They don't put their money.
Okay, 1 second. How long have you had your money in the black bank?
Since I own my company, it's 7.5 years.
Okay, which black bank is that, if you don't mind asking?
Regions Bank, down here in Georgia.
Okay, because coming out of Georgia, and we'll get the statistics on this, it's not plenty of black banks here. There's black people.
It's not.
It's plenty of black people on the front, because I went into those banks. Have it on camera. They put black people at the front. They're not owned by black people. There's only really two. One, Killer Mike just was trying to put together about 1.5 years ago. The other one outside of that was the United Bank, and that's one, and that's online. They don't even have a physical present as of yet. I mean, a real all-black ownership without any other race sitting at the table.
Oh, okay.
All the other banks have white counterparts sitting at the table. They just let the black person take the lead, like they were taught in marketing. If you want to market to black people and get their money in church, put a black people there. If you want to put them in, even in commercials, put a black person there. Like because we relate to black people. Send them to their hood, but we do not own it. at all.
That's exactly what they did with Jay-Z with the Barclays.
I was looking for
Let him say
the
he
Black
owned it.
Bank with you to put all of my money in when it first had. And let me tell you, I had, if it wasn't for somebody working at one of the banks when I went in, and I was so amped about the Black Bank and kind of put a bug and wrote a note in my ear to where to do the research, I would have never known, only because of what I was doing with BBMIC. She was so invested and thought it would benefit us as a people, passed me a note, and I was like, wow. And went and did the research and was like, wow. Yeah, there is none. Only one. It's only one. And matter of fact, the young lady who spoke about it, I can't think of her name now, but she did an interview on the Breakfast Club. Now that bank is real. That's all black ownership, but it's only one.
Well, that's definitely a problem for us to create infrastructure for our own community if we don't have a financial established situation, because that's where it's going to be. So at the end of the day, so now that can't be a deterrent. I'm not using that as a deterrent. I'm saying that would help, because if people put, like you said, if the millionaires or the billionaires or just the mom and pop companies or people in general drop their money into this establishment, and we can mimic that establishment all over the country, now we have our own currency where we come at, now within that establishment, if they had a product, right, which I would recommend to that establishment to say, within our bank, you can network and interact with all kind of different types of situations within the bank. So now we have this entity, we have Black Ink, where you could get tattoos from. Like, the list is endless to the roster of businesses or things that as a multi-millionaire we can invest into our own community and help build our own community. You're absolutely right. We need a school. We need a school specific for us. We need a hospital specific for us.
We need a bunch, because we have a bunch of educators, a bunch of nurses, a bunch of. It's so bad that our own. Let me tell you how bad this is, and I don't mean to cut you. I did mean to cut you off, but not mean to cut you off, MJ, because what you're saying is absolutely right. And by no means am I saying don't even go to Regis Bank to actually send your money to, because I don't have 100% knowledge on that. Because what I'm saying is there is black people white people or other races of people who are our allies. You know what I mean? So they're not our enemies. The problem is, because this certain way of marketing has became how to market to us have became relevant. It's a book on it, right? It's hard to distinguish who's really there for us and invested in us, because they made that a part of how they market now. You know what I mean? So that part is hard to distinguish, because there is other races that's out there for us. We really have other races that care about us. So that can open up a bank, and if a black person, if I can find somebody to partner with me to open up a bank for my people, of course I'm going to take it. Yeah. But we can't determine that from the outside, because the intentions behind some people are so vicious and make it hard to trust.
Certain people.
You know what I mean? It makes it so hard to trust.
But that's what I was about to say, as far as, like, even if there is an all-black bank, fully black, run by black people, owned by black people, whatever, it's still a question of what are you doing for black people. That was what I cut MJ off, because that's what I was going to say. What are you doing? Like, even because it's like you could have all of those attributes, but it's like, if you're not doing nothing with it, if you're just taking money like the other banks are, you're still not helping. You understand what I'm saying? And like you said, it could be banks that have other nationalities running it that's helping us way more. What's the sense of having an all-black hospital? Somebody big owns the black hospital if they not making it so black people that don't have the right type of insurance and money can go there? Like, if you're not helping the people,
that's my
doesn't
point.
Make it's not making a difference.
And me and Chase, I think I was talking about that with Chase and Sharif, because I'm the same way. I support black businesses all day long, because I subconsciously support every other race. We know they own them already. Yeah. So I consciously tried to make it my effort to support, whether they for us or not. I just do. But the larger scale is for us to start supporting each other the right way. But my point that I was making before is it's so bad, right, that we so unorganized and that we don't own anything. That is not just, like I said, it's a bunch of black melanated nurses, doctors, any field that you're in, it's a bunch of us in there now, right? It always been. We're there, right? And of course, they haven't even gotten together to take their funds to build a facility that's just for us, right? We go there everywhere. We're in everybody else's house, still the slave house. We're in everybody else's house, but we don't have our own house, right? It's so bad that the reasons that why we're segregated still turn back to religion, no matter what religion you is, right? We still ain't got that. We still ain't got that. The religious leaders and whoever's that influence the community still ain't put it in place. We still ain't got it. They don't even own that. They barely own that. That's how bad it is.
It's crazy. Well, we got the guest that's about to come on in a few minutes too, so we want to have everybody come back around for that because I think the live might cut off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, but this is some great stuff, man. It needs the conversation. Like I said, we just need to continue to keep putting in front of each other's faces.
Oh, most definitely. Especially if we want to create some changes and some true impact. Because at the end of the day, we can't still be sitting around just sick or tired of being sick or tired. As our grandma would say, I'm sick or tired. MJ, you know you're sick or tired of being sick or tired?
I'm tired.
Ain't that what the elders say? I'm sick or tired of being sick or tired. We still can't get sick or tired of being sick or tired. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think, how much time are we looking at?
Yeah, I think go off in like 1 minute, maybe.
Okay, because I know that the elders are a little burnt out, and we can't even blame them for it because they've been through a lot.
Well, link it up again, I guess.
Yeah.
When it's ready, just link it up again.
Bob, please come back on the second half.
5, 4,
review.
3, 2, 1. Take it. Level up.
Level up.
Level up. Level up.
One.
Level up. Level up.
Photo.
Level up.
Got to find us. So y'all tap in and follow back up with us.
Level on up.
Let's go.
Wait, did I do that? No, I'll never know what I'm doing. I think, Rich Mo, you got to do it from your end.
Okay.
Hey, you got to send it back, what, to Chase?
You saving that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's no way in the world. I don't never want to be ungrateful to say we're not doing better. But we ain't nowhere out of the trenches. I don't even think we begun. I think we just entered a different house. That's why I think Martin Luther King led with, I think I led my people into the fire.
Right.
Because all they did was switch up houses to build every corporation they got.
What would you call this?
What?
The title for this. What was the topic just now?
UNITY.
You know it's whack. It's crazy. I was thinking
That's unity.
I swear to God, everything I love.
Love a black woman from the to listen. Who you calling the community business? Yeah. That's when you know you got good music. See, shout out to Iconic Music, because that's when you know you got good music. Because I'm telling you, she had dudes rocking that show once. Who you calling the bitch?
Right.
She had men saying it.
Definitely did.
Most impactful. And you know what's so funny? Well, I'll wait till I get Chase on the line for that one. Reality.
I'm trying to say it.
They got us.
Yeah, I keep saying it was a problem. Okay, let's talk about it. I'm doing everything.
Yeah, that's why I'm be fooling with them iPhones. They be acting crazy. My Android works right good for me. Why I felt like I hear Chase.
He sounds
Hey,
like him.
God is dope.
Maybe Chase saved it.
Probably.
Could he?
Probably.
Alright, because it's not allowing me to.
I have no idea.
I don't want to delete video.
Let me hit him and see.
Yeah, fine. Okay, this is. It's giving me a hard time.
Your Chase is crazy. Yeah, Richmo said, did you save it?
No, I was trying to save that.
He said he was.
It's giving me a hard time too.
But I don't know if y'all saved it.
He said it was giving him a hard. It's giving him a hard time.
Oh, damn. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to try to get in there on that second half and save that.
All right. All right.
All right.
All right. That's fine. Just keep it rolling. He try to get in on the other joint and save it. I don't know. I don't know. Them joints be tripping. I didn't even bring my charger.
Yeah, I didn't really get a chance to look at my car though.
I think Chase is requesting. Is Chase requesting again? Or no? Or that's just the
It
screen?
ain't light up.
Oh, okay. I want this rain to stizz up.
I think he requested now.
Huh?
So I think he requested it now. This is just dying at the. I got it. Kumasi Project.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah, that's our interviewer.
I don't see Chase yet.
These things are hot.
Hello.
Hello, beautiful. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, lovely lady. How are you?
I can't hear you.
She can't hear. I didn't think so.
You can't hear at all?
No, she can hear us. You can't hear at all?
I can hear now.
Okay, that's me then. All right, how are you today?
I'm doing
Tonight, I
wonderful.
should say. You
How
look
are you?
gorgeous. You look gorge. You can't hear again.
Uh-oh. Let me.
Okay, he's adjusting the sound. What about now?
That's her side.
Well,
Okay, that's your side. That's her side.
Yeah.
Can't
good?
hear. We can't hear you.
She got knocked off. She's gonna come back.
Cause we can hear. Once we can hear him, it's the same.
Yeah, I can hear
She
him.
was
Okay.
She was just on, but she got knocked off. It appears.
There's Mr. Flo.
Wow. What's up? Damn, she got knocked off?
Yeah, the guest
she'll
knocked
come back.
herself off.
Yeah,
I'm
she'll come back
assuming.
on.
So she'll come back in a second. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think her phone dropped or something like that.
She requesting right now.
Yeah, she's requesting now. Let's see. Let me just shoot that there, cause.
There we go.
There you go. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
All right.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hello. Good
Great,
evening
great.
or good night over there. Where you at?
No, I'm actually in America right now.
Oh, you're in America right now. Okay.
It's 11 o'clock in Ghana, though. A lot of people were waiting to come on earlier. Y'all started 5 minutes late.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Tell them we was on American Black People time.
Yeah.
She from
Oh, y'all was on African time.
Yeah, I know, right? That's
Lord.
we know. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into
I
that.
got a lot of friends in Ghana.
Rich Mo say he has a lot of friends in Ghana.
You have a lot. Who?
He has a lot of friends in Ghana.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I know a lot of the rap artists.
So you are in LA?
Right now I'm in LA.
LA, okay.
I'll be going back to Ghana in November.
Right. Okay.
Should be going to November.
Going to November. Damn.
That's what Rich Mo said.
Right.
All of the musical artists in the world.
Nice.
Great. All right, Mr.
So,
Flo.
welcome back, everybody. Greetings. So yeah, we're just gonna open up the floor and want to introduce my good friend, my sister from another mister,
Who said I'm
the
looking like a
Bronte.
straight young girl?
the queen. I like to call her the queen of Ghana. She's like, this woman is so powerful, man, and she just the amazing work that she's doing out there. Just not even in Ghana, but just in California as well, man. Just everywhere she goes, she's just really a breath of fresh air and a beautiful person. So I am honored. I am honored to have you on this platform, and if you can introduce yourself to the platform, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my American name is Macretia McFashion Renault. My Ghanaian name, my African name is Okoso Agrefi Koto, means humble crying crab. Kind of gathering people together, bringing everybody together and making things happen. I live between LA and Ghana. I usually travel to Ghana about 3 to 4 times a year and participate in so many different things. My godmom, she's like my mother and sorority sister as well, permanently moved to Ghana after she retired from Xerox, started a nonprofit organization, and the rest is history. There's so much stuff to tell you, so I don't know where you want me to begin, but that's pretty much the synopsis of who I am. I am the eldest of 6 children. I have 6 siblings. So I don't want to tell my age because I think that they say that that's not appropriate. But I am December born, born on a Sunday, hence the name Akosua. Ghana is my home. America is officially in a few years will be my second home. How about that? I'm a transition.
Let me ask a question. Are you first generation?
No.
Say it again.
She said no.
Oh no, it's delayed. I'm
Can
at
she
the
hear
wrong
me?
camera.
Yeah, you gotta listen. You can't hear?
Oh, you're not first gen. You said you're not first generation
No.
American. Okay. No, I think it's dragged on my end. But I just
you're
heard
looking
that.
at looking
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I have twins. My twins are 17 years old, so they're getting ready to go away to college. I went to an HBCU, very HBCU. I'm an HBCU fan all the way. Payne College, Augusta, Georgia.
Okay. I know that's right.
I promote HBCUs, recruited children to participate in HBCU, have mentored a lot of children in LA, had an organization called Journey Sisters where I had about 50 women that I taught classes to on entrepreneurship. We did a lot of community service and things here in Los Angeles. And so the need in Africa was there, and I was able to meet the need. So that's where I've been, doing stuff at home in Africa, which is much more rewarding a lot of times than doing the things that I was doing here in America.
Nice. And which way? Explain. I would love to hear that.
Huh?
I said, in which way?
Unfortunately, the appreciation for us with our people on the continent is a lot more different than the appreciation that you get here in America. Actually, in America, a lot of times you don't even get acknowledged for the good works that you do. For being a philanthropist is not sexy. People are not running around here saying, I'm going to share your video, I'm going to like your post because you helping 500 children. Are you feeding people? Are you providing shoes for people? That's not really the sexy way to go, right? Especially with the age of social media. But when you go home and you feel the love, you get the love, you see the children and how appreciative they are over the small things. We take a lot of things for granted here because we have all the resources at our disposal. Even though at home in Africa, we are the resource for the world.
Right.
So but yeah, so that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, so that's why I find it's much more rewarding to go and do stuff for my people and know that not only am I going to be appreciated for it, but that I'm actually doing something to make a difference.
Nice. That's dope. So I want to know, or if you can share your view, I would like to get. What happened? No. Oh, okay. I need to stop looking at this one because that's the delayed one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look up here.
Yeah, let me look up there. Let me get your view on a question that I just asked the guys. Let me pluck your brain. How concerned are you about the future of our race?
The future of our race?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10.
When you say the future of our race, are you talking about we as African people, as Black people, or
as a whole, as in Black people? Now, of course, we all concerned. Well, I'm concerned about the human race in general, but in this particular time in my life, I'm more concerned about us as a people. Yes, Black people, melanated people.
I'm not that concerned.
Mm-hmm.
There is a generation of people, I'll say the millennials, and Generation Z, they are a lot different than we were in our generation, in our time. Millennials, you have a great deal of millennials that they're woke in a different way. A lot of things that we did, we were sheltered by. We were, everything was hush hush. Everything was, you couldn't be outspoken. You couldn't speak your mind. You couldn't say how you felt. So I feel like I'm a part of Generation X. Generation X, I feel like, unlike the baby boomers, that's a whole nother topic. But Generation X, I feel like we kind of set the tone.
Right.
And then the millennials that have come in, millennials are making more money. They're making better career decisions. There are some things that we had foundationally that this generation does not have. But do I think that that's a jeopardy for us as a Black race? I really don't. I think I find more people that are ignorant and are less traveled in our generation than I find in the millennials and in Generation Z. Which my twins are Generation Z, and they've already traveled to Africa, and they've been many places. They're traveled by themselves. So, it's a whole different, it just depends on the mindset and the people that you're dealing with. I believe that if you travel, is there hope for us as a people? Most definitely, if we become more traveled. But those people who are closed-minded, those African Americans that are not progressive, I feel like if you don't have a passport, then we don't need to have a conversation. Because your view of the world is 6 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was in undergrad, I wrote a paper that's actually in the National History Museum, and it was called 6 Blocks. My universe is 6 blocks. And basically that's saying most African American people in society, as far as saying what's going to happen with the degradation of our race. We will never be accepted in America. There's no such thing as reparation. It's never going to happen. You know why? Because the laws that are set up for us as melanated people, as Black people, based on the law, we can never get reparations. We can't. Because we don't have land. We were brought here. So we don't own the land, unlike the Indians. People are like, well, why did they get casinos? This was their land. We as Africans, we were brought here. We don't have land. We don't have a flag. With the exception of the
some of them can get land, and some can get. They can get that. It's just because they don't identify with who they are. They're not educated to get it. Because
I'm talking about being able to have it in America.
I understand what you're saying about having it in America, because I get the thing. I'm with you on the reparations. Some's just not going to get it. We got to give it to ourselves. But what I'm saying, that a lot of us who share both DNA from our ancestors that came over on the slave trade, but also our ancestors were already here in America too. We have mixed DNA. You understand what I'm saying? They can get the land, but a lot of them don't. They're not aware of their identity. We can see it. It's visual if we look upon them, but they don't know their identity because they changed our names over here billions of times.
Yeah,
we've been changed.
It's unfortunate. One of the greatest things that the colonizers did, they did an excellent job, is number one, making us hate ourselves, down to our skin color. That's where the whole bleaching thing comes in, which I have a huge problem with. Everything that has happened to us, they did a very good job of making us hate ourselves. The next thing that they did a very good job at is making us be separate against one another in every aspect, in every spectrum. That's where you have these classes, societies. So you have these ADOS people that are running around saying, "Hey, I'm ADOS, but I'm not African."
Wait, what's that? I don't even know what that is. What's ADOS?
ADOS is African Descendants of Slaves.
Wait, let me write that down. Say that again.
ADOS.
African Descendants of Slaves, but I'm not African. What?
No, most definitely. That is the stand. I am an African descendant of a slave, but I'm not African. So the argument, i.e. on places like Clubhouse, is I don't want to be recognized as an African. I don't want to be classified as Nigerian. I am an African American descendant of a slave. And you little African child, you cannot identify with my story. Why? Because I feel like in my small head, even though my family was, Louisiana had over 256 plantations. They had more plantations than any place in the United States of America.
That's a fact.
The people that were brought from Africa primarily were brought from West Africa.
Right.
Were brought from West Africa, brought to Louisiana. And these are the main people that are the ADOS people. And they don't identify with being African because they feel like we as Africans came over on all these different agreements and or negotiations based on what they think that what America has told them in a book.
Right.
Okay? That we came over here and we took their jobs and there was laws for Africans to be able to work and things like that, which we all know was not the case. But the ADOS feel like if there is going to be reparations, you African person, Nigerian, you person who came from Ghana, who came from Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Kenya, wherever you came from, you are not allowed to get reparations.
Wait, say that again? You said, who said what? If you came from
if you are, say for example, if you were an immigrant, right? Your family migrated here. The ADOS thought process believes that those Africans are not allowed to be a part of reparations.
Okay, and
those
why is
Africans, because they were not born here.
They were not born here. Okay.
They were not born here. So they believe that they cannot get the reparations.
Well, if they didn't want to give us reparations, I'm sure they wasn't going to want to give them reparations at all.
I mean, technically they shouldn't because they were still over there. They
didn't give it to us. I'm sure they didn't want to give it to them. I'm sure. They don't even want to give it to the people who own the land here. I know they don't want to give it to nobody else. That's a fight.
That wasn't a part.
And then the greatest asset that they brought to Africa, that the colonizers did. So to come to America, they did a great job at that whole separate but equal. That was strictly for us, to keep us separate from each other, to keep us from building conglomerates, because we are the chosen people. If you go back biblically and you go to the Bible, let's just talk about Bible, real Bible, okay? First of all, we had religion in Africa, and we still do. We had our traditional religion. We did not need Christianity. Christianity that was brought to us, and also the Christianity that was taught in the Americas, we did not start learning with the Old Testament of the Bible. Why? Because certain scriptures were taken out of the Bible. So these same people who have been Christianized, to learn what the Word of God says, are not actually operating on the premise of who God said we were as a people. So since they did a great job at tearing given us religion.
Oh,
Religion is the death of Africa.
It's the death of our people. Period.
When you try,
all across the globe. All across the globe.
Oh, just about.
All across the globe.
Yeah. All across the globe. I remember I was in South Africa, and in South Africa, you know, because of the apartheid and what happened during apartheid, it's sort of like being on, let's say, for example, everybody knows Atlanta. So if you're in Atlanta and you're on this side of Piedmont, but you the other side of Piedmont is where Morehouse and all the HBCUs are. Those are for the dark-skinned people. This is like this in South Africa. In 2014, I was in South Africa. The dark-skinned people live on one side. The mixed-race people live on another side. The religious beliefs and the churches on both sides are separate. If those two people want to meet in South Africa, they have to come to the middle of Piedmont Road and meet together. And that type of religion has been the death of being able to tear us apart as a people. And so you ask the question if it's over for us as a black race. I don't believe so.
I didn't say it was over. I said the concern. What was how on the scale of 1 to 10, how concerned were you about the future of our race?
Yeah. I'm not that concerned.
Right.
Here's why. I think the benefit for the horror of what COVID was, the benefit of it was the fact that the churches were closed down. I loved it. That was the best thing that came out of COVID.
Well, it wasn't the churches that were just closed down. Majority of the religious sectors were closed down.
Oh, I loved it. And you're not getting no tithe and offering, and you need to study your own.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you for that, but
I'm sure they found a way to get these people to email that money.
I'm mad at you for that, but I'm not mad at you for that meeting.
Yeah, because the church has been the degradation of black people. So you ask the question, what do I see for the future of us? I believe that if we took on all these different generations, and if we actually learned from the religious aspect of COVID of what happened, then we're going to be all right.
Oh, I truly believe that too. I think in all the situations, especially with COVID and the pandemic happening, I actually was okay with it. Most people don't believe I was okay with Trump being in office because the benefit to me is black people actually starting to lean on one another and benefit from it. Because at that particular time, it was all about us. Because as soon as someone else getting in office, we get a tad bit comfortable and think we're out of the war zone.
Well, one of the things that America has done, again, is did a great job at pitting us against one another. Look at that whole thing of what happened with Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Now, Kamala is my soror. Okay, that's great. But the whole thing with Kamala Harris, the same thing that happened with Rosa Parks and the real person who sat on the bus first. Because of the color of her skin, because of the nature of who she is, that's why she sits in that office. Because of who she's married to.
Right. Of course.
Doug. She's married to Doug. She's not married.
Of course.
She's married to Doug. She's not married to Dominique.
Of course.
No,
of course.
There's two different. So when you talk about, is America for black people? America will never be for black people. America is pacifying black people.
Well, here's the thing.
Period.
I agree and disagree at the same time, because whether they like it or not, we are America. Whether they like it or not, we are American. I think I was just talking about this earlier with Chase. You know what I mean? It's hard for us here being, born in this country with African descent. What's that? ADOS? That's hilarious. Never heard of it. But knowing our history and me knowing mine, especially because I did my DNA and got mine in. So I know all of my Cameroon, Nigerian, Bantu people DNA that flows through my blood. But I know my native side from my father's side as well. So with that being said, being American bred and knowing the history of our ancestors here, of how much they went through, how much they died, how much they built America, this is our home. You understand what I'm saying? I just explained this earlier that we look at Africa like the foster the mother that gave us up through birth, and then we had this foster mother over here we hate, but we won't feel at home until we touch the land. I truly believe there's a lot of us that want to touch the land. We'll feel at home there. But this is our land too, because this is what we know. Our hard work is here. Our sweat and tears is here. Our sacrifices is here. So I encourage us having the best of both worlds to bridge the gap, you know what I mean, and build home, but also reclaim our land here and bridge those gaps, because this is our land here too.
And I agree with you. But however, what I say is that for as much as I can go home to Ghana, and guess who will never be homeless? That will be me.
Exactly.
I can go into a village and I will have a place to sleep.
Exactly.
That doesn't happen in LA.
Right.
We had to put permits on our block in order to not, and I live in Baldwin Hills, in order to not let homeless people have homeless encampments. LA has the biggest homeless population and problem than anywhere in America.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes. And they have the worst homeless problem than any country that I've been to in Africa.
Well, why is that?
Why is that?
Why is that in LA?
Because we live in the land of opportunity. Oh, I'm from Chicago. I'm going to go to California and become a star. And I get to California and I realize there's a bunch of homeless people that's laying on the street. And guess what? They're only letting 10 black people in Hollywood at a time. So you're not getting in. So then you get a place. So then you get a place to stay. You get a place to stay, and you got to have a roommate. Roommate, y'all trying to work it out. Then you get a job at a bar, and you're a bartender, and you're a waitress, and you spending your money, and you making your little money, and you going on audition after audition after audition. I gotta have a SAG card. I gotta have an agent. I gotta be with an agency. All these different things that you have to do to be in Hollywood. And what happened during the pandemic? Nobody was working. Hollywood was shut completely down. So what happened? All those people that was applying for those jobs that was have a SAG card, guess where they are? They're the ones that's sleeping in the tents on Hollywood Boulevard.
I know somebody that went through that word for word.
You know, you gotta look at it. In the state of California, let me tell you what let me tell you, we did get reparations.
I know what you're about to say because you already got my heart
We
beating.
We got reparations.
I already know what you're about to say. You got my heart
Black
beating.
people got, the moment you got a stimulus check, that was
I knew what you was about to say. Listen, no, seriously. That's why I said she got my heart rate. You got my heart racing over here. Because they're not even listen, I had this conversation, but I don't think the people are ready for that conversation, that they didn't see the setup in that. The PPL, the SBA, everything that they gave, this is going to be the excuse. I promise you.
And then you talk about, let's talk about our hip hop of Atlanta dude who got 4.3 million or so many millions of dollars in PPP money.
Who is that?
He's facing 15 to 17 years.
I forgot his name.
Who is
jail. He's in
I
jail.
didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he's a rapper.
He got a lot of PPP money, but my boy bought houses, Bentleys.
Wait, what she say? What you say?
One of my sorority sisters, who's an engineer, told me she didn't get a stimulus check. You're not getting a stimulus check.
So you mean he got how many years did he get?
For those black people, the stimulus check was your reparation. If you add up how much they got, $4,000 for the average family got $4,000. $4,000 times 4 is how much? $16,000. If every black person in America that was from a descendant ADOS got reparations, you're going to get $10,000. Ask the people in Detroit, or was it Detroit or somewhere in Missouri in that back, they already got reparations. They each got $10,000. You got your reparations. So take yourself somewhere and sit down.
Well, not me. Not Ty.
Well, you know
not
what,
Ty.
You got the money, so you look at the guy who's a PPP guy, right? He's hip hop. If you Google it, hip hop Atlanta.
I think it was Miami.
Hip hop Atlanta star. It's a guy. I forgot his name, but they're calling him the PPP scammer. Okay, he got so many millions of dollars. Somebody can research it while I'm talking. But he got so many millions of dollars. Now he's facing 15 to 17 years in prison. Why? He said he had a trucking company.
Well, I'm just saying he's facing it because he's black. He's facing it because he's black. Because
face
they
it.
but
He
in
is
the
facing
trucking
because he's
company,
black. Because
in the
he
trucking
acted
company,
black and went and bought
trucking
Lamborghinis
company,
and
he was
shit.
Oh
claiming,
shit, did he?
in the trucking company, he was claiming that he had 100 and something employees working for him.
What's that? A PPP loan?
Yeah, I ain't take that.
PPP. Now, but let me
PPP.
tell you about the PPP. Guess what they did? They forgave the money. You know, there's a whole application that anybody who
they
got
forgive it.
PPP money, it was forgiven, especially if you deal with the right thing. But what you know what your brother did? He went and bought a Rolls Royce.
That's what he
went
just
and
said.
bought-
That's what he just
Yeah.
said. That's what he just said. He said he went and bought
He
some.
went and bought a whole
yeah.
bunch of shit that he shouldn't have bought.
Yeah, that's what he just
Number
said.
one. Number two.
Yeah, he was in the party turning up. He bought watches. He bought his girl stuff. He bought clothes.
And,
He's on the
and
internet
probably
popping
didn't even
off.
have probably
Ain't
didn't even
got
have
nothing
100
to do.
employees.
And he booked this
Tell
up.
me, let me tell you what the white man did, who did that same exact thing.
And
The white man had a trucking company. The white man said, "Oh, you giving me $4 million? I'm gonna take $3 million and have a fucking trucking company,
yeah.
and I'm gonna open up the trucking company, and I'm going to employ some Hispanics. I'm not employing no black people,
Of course.
and I'm gonna employ those people, and I'm gonna pay them money." And I am going to win because guess what happened?
And they shouldn't have gave them the reparations, but they gave them the reparations.
They sent out a notice that everybody who got PPP money, I know because I'm a regional director for the grocery industry, so I manage about 200 and something stores.
Mhm.
So I know all those people, their loans were all forgiven. And he's about to go and do 15 to 17 years in jail. Why? Number one, you black. If you black, you commit a
Do
crime.
he still have the money?
No, he
Huh?
spent it.
Talk about he spent the money, so he
spent
don't
it.
have the money.
I mean, the thing is, they was gonna forgive it anyway, but he fucked up at how he did it. And that white guy should go to jail too, because at the end of the day, the PPP is a payroll
They're not-
protection.
yeah, but they're not. He's not going to go to jail
Yeah, I'm
because
saying
remember
he's
they
not,
got that
but
put in
it's
place
payroll
now.
protection, which means you would have already had to have those people on payroll, and which also means that they specifically say you're not supposed to start new like you ain't supposed to start new businesses. You're
But
supposed to
there
use
is
it
certain
to
questions
pay
that
off.
they ask
Yeah.
in those situations.
I mean, he played it
if
right.
the pandemic actually stopped or stagnated growth in your business plan or what you had, they use that money
But
to
you
farther what they.
You're supposed to be paying your. They have two different loans. The PPP is to pay your payroll. It's called the payroll protection.
You know, one of the things that
It's just
one
to
of
pay
my
your payroll.
brothers said,
So
which
They
is
have
true,
another one
reparations,
to
What he's
Yeah.
saying is that the white guy
comment.
should have went to jail too because he shouldn't have went
He
and
didn't
hired
use
a
it
bunch of
correctly
Mexicans
either.
because he actually didn't have an existing business already in place to pay those employees.
Right.
Well, are you guys really understand that you black?
Oh no,
That's what I'm saying.
No, listen, I'm
That's
good.
exactly
I
what I'm
didn't
saying.
get PPP. Listen,
That's what
I
I'm
didn't get
saying.
PPP, so I'm good. I wouldn't even take it.
No, I'm saying exactly
even
that.
take
The,
it.
the fact that he's white, he's not gonna go to jail for that. He's not gonna. He did it wrong too. I'm saying he should be
But
in
the
jail.
fact that
but
he's
it's
not
gonna
going to go
happen
to jail
him.
for that, it's because,
Yeah.
let me tell you what I truly believe one of black people's biggest problem is. And that's all of us. Nobody is exempt from that, not even Africa. We don't hold people accountable.
Black
We
people
don't
are too
hold them
forgiving.
accountable.
Black people are too
We
forgiving.
don't hold them accountable. We don't hold them accountable. So something has to change where we're holding people accountable for what they say they believe in.
And I challenge all black people to not accept this as reparations because we ain't the only ones that got it.
But look,
If
one of
other
my-
people
one of my
got
brothers-
it, then
but
you
one of my
can't tell me
brothers
that's
said
reparations.
On here, which is very true. He said reparations include economic empowerment,
Empowerment.
meaning
Exactly.
bands,
Exactly.
universities,
Exactly.
supermarkets, and hospitals.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, supermarkets. I'll just talk about it from a supermarket
Let me-
standpoint. I'll talk about it from a toilet tissue. Let's talk about
Hey,
toilet
she's
tissue.
talking my language.
So
Come on.
during COVID, let's just take something as simple as toilet tissue.
Mhm.
The toilet tissue manufacturers got PPP money,
Mhm.
tons of it, and they don't have to pay none of it back. Okay, they don't have to pay any of it back.
Crazy.
Okay, toilet tissue already had negotiated deals. Anything that deals with a supermarket, we're just gonna focus on the supermarket.
Mhm.
We already have negotiated deals. I'm not buying for Christmas. I'm buying for Valentine's Day right now. It's in October. I buy for Valentine's Day. I bought for October in January. You know, so the deals were already negotiated. Oh, there's no toilet tissue. There's no toilet tissue. Okay, bam. In a hospital, in a grocery store, in the airport, in schools, we we use one-ply toilet tissue, which is manufactured based on a commercial manufactured block. In the household, we use two-ply toilet tissue, especially men. Men will use two-ply toilet tissue over women. Now, everybody's at home. The contract negotiations were already made for those people. They had to thereby go and try to figure out the commercial person who's making commercial toilet paper is not the same person who's making conventional toilet paper for the grocery store. So, no, we don't have no toilet tissue. They had to go back and manufacture. The federal government said, hey, wait a minute, we got to give you some money. Here is $5 million for you to now start making PPP toilet tissue. And that $5 million is just for you to make the toilet tissue. Here's another $15 million in PPP money. Because now you have to hire people that otherwise would not have worked for you. And then the flip side happened on the other side. And then the conventional toilet paper, I lost business. The airport is closed. No one's using the restroom. The schools are closed. No one's using the restroom. It's all a vicious cycle. And the way the government works is a lot of these supermarkets and small box manufacturing have negotiated prices and things that they have worked out with the government. Those people don't, and based on what my brother was saying, he's very right. That was your reparation. I'm telling y'all, the reparation conversation, I'm not saying that we should squash it, my brother. I'm not saying we should squash it, and I'm not saying that I agree with it.
Oh, no,
but I'm
good.
telling you,
We
after being in, even studying economics and doing math every single day, because working in a grocery store, I do math all day.
Right.
The fact that I was up in the middle of the night during the COVID, because guess what was happening? The truck drivers were getting robbed. Why? Because everybody's on the CBD radio. Why? Because all the hotels were closed down. So now the truck driver doesn't have anywhere to sleep. And every time the truck driver got robbed, that person who had their trucking company got PPP money. It's all a vicious cycle. So we as black people, like my brother was, I don't know what the brother's name is off camera. What's his name?
Rich Mo. Rich Mo.
Yeah. One of the things that we have to understand is that for as much as we would love to say, and I agree with my sister that we are the people, we are the culture. White people are colonizers or WPs, however you choose to refer to them. They are the people of no color. No
WP?
Color and no culture. They don't have culture. All their culture is hamburgers and hot dogs and french fries. That's their culture.
I'm learning some words here today.
WP? That's
WP,
what you,
white people.
I know that's what you said, but I'm 51 years old. I have never heard them called WP before. That's dope. I love it.
Listen, I wrote it down. The WP.
I'm gonna put that on the hat.
No, I'll put WP and NC. No culture.
Listen,
I'll tell you like
that's
this.
it.
Listen,
So you
WP.
look at all these different things, but it goes back to my sister. It goes back to the fact that we really we don't love ourselves. And we really do not understand how to come together as a people. Why? It's not that we don't want to. We're bitter against each other. I look at so many times in doing negotiations for grocery stores. There's a grocery store that opens, a brand new grocery store that's open. They don't pay for groceries. Everything is free in the store. Everything is free because the companies want their product on the shelf. But the grocery store that's over here on Crenshaw, guess whose groceries are higher than Beverly Hills? The one on Crenshaw. Why? Because you have AFDC, you're getting county aid, and then not only that, but in the hood, we have to pay for theft. So when we go in the grocery store in the hood, we have to pay for theft. Why is it that produce is so cheap in the Hispanic stores? Because we're getting secondhand produce.
And I knew that.
All these things are like, all these things play into the economic behavior. So we as a black people, we will never, no matter African people, black people, we do not play by the same rules.
I agree.
The greatest thing that Africa can do, and that's the reason why. Remember when you was in school, sister, you learned to hate Fidel Castro? Oh, Fidel Castro was the worst thing that was ever made. He was horrible. He is doing his people dirty.
Castro, that's Cuba.
If it was not for Fidel Castro, no African nation would have gained their independence. He was the one who was supplying things to Africa, supplying medicine, supplying things to Africa when America wasn't giving Africa anything. Even though we have the African Union, there's certain things that kind of divide the African Union. Why? The French went over here to Cote d'Ivoire. The British went over here to Honduras and Belize and all these other places, and they separated us based on all these different things. Why? Why can't Nigeria and Ghana come together and say we're going to the negotiation table together?
Right. Exactly.
Because that's not how the colonizers set it up. They made us hate each other even on the continent.
Right.
I was in a room the other day on Clubhouse, and they were talking about tribalism and saying that, tribalism is the thing that has separated us. Tribalism, in my opinion, is not the thing that has separated us. White people taught us how to hate each other based on tribalism.
Based on tribalism, yes. Because we have
they
tribalism
taught us how,
too.
And what we do as a people, we keep it going. We keep it going. We don't know how to say, you my sister, you my brother, come to the table. We have a difference of opinion, but we gonna come together and we gonna get this money. Y'all out here doing a whole fucking crate challenge, jumping up on crate. 90% of y'all don't got no damn insurance.
Lord.
You don't have no
God.
insurance. You don't
Talk
have
about
no
it.
insurance. But we can join together and put crates together. But we cannot take $20 and take your $20 plus my $20 and help little June get a damn backpack in the neighborhood.
But that's what we're trying to do now, and you have said it right. If we can come together to do that stuff, we can come together to do
that. And and black people have the capability to do it. It's just that, like Nino Brown said, he said the other day, and it's so true. You know how people say money is the root of all evil.
No, I never believed that. The love of money is the root of all evil.
No, money is not the root of evil.
No, I know it's not. I said the saying was the love of money is the
love
root
of money.
Of all
That's true.
That's
but
the
what
love.
I believe is the root of all evil.
I don't think it's the root.
You know what it is in 2021? Attention.
Everybody
wants
But
attention.
you know what's funny?
Didn't
I just say that, Chase? We just had this conversation about attention whores. We have a generation of attention whores and people who love admiration. That comes first. And though it's needed, it shouldn't take precedence over everything else. We have bred a generation of attention whores. We just talked about it before we got on camera. Attention, they pay attention to the wrong things.
We are. We got to have attention. How many likes I have? If I go on live, does likes equate to support? It doesn't. Likes don't equate to support. And let me tell you how I know this. When I go to a Nicki Minaj concert, I'll go to a Mary J. Blige concert. Go to anybody. Name your favorite rapper. Guess who's at the concert? White people. WPs. Not your black boy.
Oh, yeah.
Not your little black boy in the neighborhood. Why? Because he can't afford the money to do it. That's the reason why DJ Nice became so big. And all these different, and Versus was so awesome. Because people finally got to see artists that otherwise would never be able to go to a concert. The average child in the hood will never see Disneyland.
Oh, Disneyland.
Those are the type of things that are meant to keep us, and then this classes system. My twins, they go to a whole public school. I'm not paying for you to go to private school. The hood school is just as good as not only that, but you're going to the hood school because guess what you get in the hood school? You get a whole scholarship. And that's why the Hispanic kids are going to college and our little black children are not going to college because little Junju mama who live in the jungle, instead of letting their child go to Dorsey or go to Crenshaw, they taking their child all the way to Beverly Hills to go to Beverly Hills High. They don't care nothing about their little brown boy.
Oh, I know.
And it's still the same shit going on in that school.
And it's still the same, and actually even worse, because I know so many people that pay for the education and their kids came out smuggling pills in school doing the same shit with them white kids. Well, sorry, Dr. Bay. She said we should not call them white because we're honoring them when we call them white. Because white is something of a...
Albion.
Yeah, so maybe we'll call...
White
WP!
people.
WP!
You look at all these different aspects of, us as a people, whether we're African, and we were born on the continent. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah basically said, I am not African because I was born in Africa. I'm African because Africa was born in me.
Right.
If I go to any ancestor, if I go to any black person and I trace back your roots, you're African.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
You're African.
Mm-hmm.
So people say, especially Clubhouse,
But I don't understand why they actually reference that, because if where we're standing at now is still Africa. I meant they changed it, but it's still a part of Africa. It might got split up, but it's still Africa.
Yeah, but and then the other thing is going back to what my brother was saying. What's his name? Mo?
Rich Mo.
Mo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we know that Africa is a continent. What Rich Mo said, Rich Mo basically was saying, I'm trying to read the comments at the same time.
Go ahead and multitask.
What Rich Mo was basically saying, we a lot of times we want to believe that if a WP commits a crime and he gets 1 year, he steals a candy bar at the candy store. He gets 1 year. If a black boy steals a candy bar out of the candy store, he's getting 8 years. For every 1 year, add 7 onto ours. That's how the system is designed to work. We still have slavery in America.
Oh, we know.
The prison system is slavery. That's what the prison system is.
Yep.
Bath and Body Works. All that's made by the prison
all
inmates.
of them. Walmart,
you have
Sam
to
Club,
have a job.
Sam Clubs,
the
all of them.
firefighters.
All of them.
Yeah.
You have to have a job when you're in there.
No, but even outside of that, they literally own like slaves. Sam Walton, all of them. Like all of them.
Yeah, like they work. Yeah. They be working.
But see, that's why I was saying in America, we built their brands, their corporations. They all were slave masters. All of them.
But we are black people are so, and the reason why the only thing that makes me sad is that if we understood our power, and if we understood who we were, I was just I was telling somebody the other day about her name just slipped my head. Oh, we were talking about black women, and our bodies. And how our bodies look. Do you know who Sarah Burton is?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Google Sarah Burton. Sarah Burton is the reason why. She is the reason. Sarah Barton. She is Barton.
Barton or Burton?
Barton.
Okay.
She is the reason why anybody can get a butt injection. Huh. She is the reason why anybody can have stem injections. Because they took her, she was West African. They brought her from Africa. Scientists brought her from Africa and studied her body. She had a real big butt.
No, I did hear her.
Yeah.
I did hear her.
And so, because of her butt, the stem cells from her butt are the stem cells that have been used over years.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't they write a textbook or something that they actually implemented into the nursing school? It's something they've over there. Yeah, because they did that to the guy. I can't remember his name too. He was a black guy.
She's the reason why they studied our DNA.
Yeah, I
so
remember.
So it's like you look at the Kim Kardashians of the world.
Yeah,
and we as black people, we are bleached. The number one skin product in America the world is.
Yeah,
bleaching cream.
Yeah, especially in Jamaica and in Africa. And I don't understand why they bleaching their skin like that. Why?
Because the colonizers.
I understand.
Today,
I understand.
Today, we are designed and we are purposely tricked into believing that if it's white if it's light, then it's right. And because of how society runs, we see it every single day. When you turn on your TV, you don't see a little. Now you do. Now that whole D&I is in place, now that D&I is in place, you know, everybody is showing brown children on. You know what D&I is?
D&I.
Diversity and inclusion. Everybody is diverse. Everybody is inclusive. Everything is, you know, everybody is combined together now. You know,
no, they still are they still only usually have one dark brown person in there. It ain't a lot.
No, I mean, I work for a Fortune 500 company, and I work in sales. I have an MBA, and I am the only African American female up until D&I came into play, until George Floyd had to die, that they just now started hiring African American. And then what they did is, let me tell you what they did. Not only did they do that, but they said, here's an HR person. Let's hire someone in HR. Not only is he gonna be black, he's gonna be black. He's gonna be male. He's gonna be gay. He's gonna be black. He's gonna be a male.
But this is what we were talking about before we actually got on the interview. It's hard to actually tell which ones are our allies because of the marketing. Because they have to use us to track us to put in these positions. I know black people that actually were in different firms that had to do their marketing and was writing up stories about George Floyd for these white companies so they can push out there that they stand for us. They're not even writing their own content. Black people are putting together their content.
But the other thing
run on a commercial to say they're for us.
The reason, so there's a game to be played. There's a game to be played. You know, Kamala went to Howard University. HBCUs getting money. You know what's happening with the flip side of HBCUs now? White children are applying to HBCUs.
And they're going to be allowed to go because black people don't own HBCUs.
No, not. It depends. If you go to a private school versus a public school, it depends on the school. Now, one thing I will say is, because of D&I, they cannot deny them entrance, and because of D&I, they cannot deny them a scholarship.
I want to know what HBCUs is owned by black people.
Payne College, the one I went to, I know for a fact.
Where's that at?
Miles College, Lamont Owens College. There's a number of them. If it's a state school, it's not owned by the people. But any HBCU that you see struggling that has an enrollment of 3,000 or less, it is still owned by the school. And the alumni, we the people, are the ones that keep the school going.
That keeps the school alive, yeah, because most of the HBCU, the ones that's here, they're not owned by black people at all. And most people think that they are all owned by us.
No, they're not. You're in Atlanta.
Yeah, I know. But a lot of black people are not aware of that at all.
No. But the school's in Augusta, because, you know, Payne is in Augusta.
No, I never even heard of it.
Payne College, HBCU, Miles College, owned by the people. There's a lot of them that are owned by the people. But now that you have a vice president who is in this place, white people, they just found out what Juneteenth was.
Yeah. So did a lot of black people.
A lot of black people.
No, they just found out what Juneteenth was too. They were celebrating the 4th of July.
Yeah, still celebrating the 4th of July.
Poor babies. And it's not even their fault. It's not even their fault.
No, but that's what they were taught. That's what they were taught. You know, and it's unfortunate. And the demasculation of black men. Let's talk about the demasculation of black men. You know, unfortunately, yes, we can go back to the era of time. We having this whole LGBTQI rights fight in Ghana. The same type of fight. Oh yeah, the same type of fight that we're having all over the world. That's fine. According to D&I law, we're just going to agree to disagree. According to D&I law, inclusively, people have the right to do what they want to do. But I'm going to tell you this much. If I went out in public with my dude and stood on the corner and started tonguing it up with him, you would have a problem with it.
Right.
What I don't like is that you're trying so hard to prove that you're inclusive.
Right.
That there's no boundaries.
Right.
There's no boundaries. And so if clear boundaries are set, then you can start to say, okay, we moving forward as black people. These boundaries have been set. I'm sorry, Lil Nas X, best marketer known to man. His marketing skills are through the roof. Through the roof.
But once again, we spoke about this on a few episodes ago, how marketing really hurt us as a people, and it continued to hurt us as a people.
Because what happens is, once they finish using you, and they're done with you, then you have to try to figure out a way to be able to recover. Look at how many people, attention, I gotta have attention. Look at how many people have destroyed their own selves. You know, DMX. I'm a DMX fan.
Me too.
I love me some DMX.
Me too.
And that didn't have to happen. But what made it happen? The root of what has, and I'm not saying I can blame a society for the demise of an individual, but I'm saying I blame a society for the demise of an individual.
No, I'm with you on that. We're here on that. Man, we all have to take ownership and accountability, because that's what's key to actually healing us and us moving forward. So they are accountable. He is accountable, and society is definitely accountable. His parents is accountable for causing all of his trauma. America is accountable for causing the trauma. So, I mean, until we actually take some accountability, we can't even heal and move forward.
And the thing that hurts the most is the only thing that you have that supersedes you is your legacy, right? We all gonna die.
True.
At the end of the day, what will they say? People are not going to come to your funeral and talk about, you know, what you did do or what you didn't do. It's going to be shown in the life that you live.
Right.
And your legacy is going to surpass you. One of the things that America has done to us as a people, it has tarnished our reputation. Think about any public figure. I was thinking about Michael Jackson the other day.
Oh man, I love him still.
And all the amazing things that he did. I mean, the amazing things that he did. Michael Jackson was so woke that everybody else was asleep. Heal the world, whether you're black or white. Trust me,
Michael Jackson. And they didn't even want him to make that type of music.
No, Michael Jackson understood who he was. Just the other day, I was talking about Michael Jackson with Eminem, right? Eminem hated Michael Jackson. Let me tell you, Eminem hated Michael Jackson.
He but not join cancel culture.
Oh no, he hated Michael Jackson.
I didn't know that.
Michael Jackson did not say one single word. You know what Michael Jackson did? Went and bought the label.
Because he was Michael Jackson.
So up until Michael Jackson's death, he owned all of Eminem's music.
Oh, and that's why they canceled him.
And that's why they canceled him. You understand? So when you, for as prominent as you are, let's go and talk about Dr. Martin Luther King and how great he was. I can talk about Kwame Nkrumah and how wonderful I think he was. Mugabe, how I thought that he had some great things that he implemented. I can go on and on and on about all the great leaders and people that
were influential to us.
Huh?
I said they were highly influential to us. And
yes,
impactful.
but the moment they die, they wait to tear them down.
Oh, most definitely, yeah.
They wait to tear them down. And then we as a people, guess what we do? We tear each other down. All these people, my sister, around R. Kelly, and nobody said anything?
Right.
No, not one person. Not your mama, not your auntie, not the dancer, nobody was.
They was dropping them kids off and picking them up.
Listen, it was horrible.
They was
to me, that was
kids
just a modern day lynching. That was horrible to watch. Horrible.
You know, and I didn't watch any of it. You know, because as a person being a victim myself, I don't watch it because I'm not going to send myself into a downward spiral. But I know for a fact that there's 20 people around him, and they look like us.
They look like us.
And not one of us who want to beat kids, who want to beat women, who got something to say about everything, who judge the most judgmental, the most praying, Christian, blah, blah, blah people, and not nobody could say anything about him?
You know why? Because the trauma was too real. It was too real.
We, as a black people, are too forgiving. And not only that, but we're too gameful.
Well, you know what? The funny part is, even unforgiving, because we're forgiving when it comes to other people's, but not each other. And that's the default right there. So at the end of the day, I truly believe because we're still stuck, a huge majority of us is still stuck in survival mode. We're independently, individually moving forward towards success. But it's survival mode. We have not gotten out of survival mode to unify and bring the resources together that we currently have now in order to push forward as a whole. Wow. And that's sort of kind of what we're actually gearing together to actually do. Is to push an agenda to unite. Because we have to actually have our own powers in place to move forward in order to sit at the table. We can't depend on them to give it to us.
Not only that, but I think where we go wrong, whether it's here in America or at home on the continent, we're waiting for the government to do something.
Who?
And I don't believe the government in any aspect. A lot of times they'll say, the schools are supposed to be free, that this is supposed to be that. And unfortunately, they give you enough breadcrumbs to keep you quiet.
Yeah, I don't want their free education.
They give you enough breadcrumbs to keep you quiet. So what's the question is, and I see that they said we have to wrap up soon. The question at hand is, what do we do about it? How do we as African people, how do we as,
that was my question to you, that how do we bridge the gap in those lines? Because I was explaining to my team, and I tell them all the time, that what we're doing and gearing up to actually do and bringing about together those funds that we generate with those resources to actually provide the right resources to our community. What happened?
It ended.
Oh, it ended?
Yeah.
White people are some evil geniuses. But to me, you gotta be like, that is a whole lack of empathy. You gotta be a cold-hearted individual to do some type of shit that's done. You know what I mean? With no excuses at all. Sometimes we make excuses. They was drunk. They was high. I mean, but conscious-mindedly to make some of the decisions you made just so that you can experience a type of quality of life is like, I can't even begin to understand that mentality. That is some lack of empathy right there.
It's real crazy. But it says a lot about them too.
Yeah, that's just, it's hard to believe that. And it's funny because when you're on the opposite side of the spectrum, it's hard to believe that that type of human being exists. You know what I mean? And I think that's the part that we have to get out of denial about. Because I truly believe that we're in denial somewhere down the line. Because we know it's possible. We watch the history. We see it. You know what I mean? We see it with George Floyd with him just posing up.
We don't want to get as vicious as them now.
We're not as vicious as them. That's the crazy part. A lot of us are not as vicious as them. Like, we'll go to war because we ain't never been scared. Right. But when we get into cutting the nipples off of your wives because they can't feed their children, we're not that vicious.
We're not.
We're just not that vicious. And you can't force what's in our nature to be what's not in our nature.
Right. You're right.
And that's exactly why they keep the leverage. So I don't even know if it's not too forgiving. We're just not cut from the same cloth. And that's something that we have to figure out. We got to figure out, like, what cloth is that?
Right.
Because that is disgusting. ADOS, WPs and NCs, and DNIs.
She had it all figured out.
Listen, the ADOS, because they don't wanna be addressed as African descendants.
Yeah, but they still consider themselves African descendants of slavery. But they say they're not African.
But that doesn't make any sense.
That's crazy.
You're a descendant. It's still in the DNA.
Yeah.
It's still in the DNA.
You are. If you can't be an African descendant and not be African. I guess retarded for somebody to even say that.
That's why I said I never actually heard that that people address besides the the on the morning show, I believe it was Morgan Freeman said, I woke up today and all of a sudden I was African, but I believe I knew where he was coming from when he stated that. But I never heard the other terminology or even, yeah. Mm.
I think it goes back to it just goes back to again, the ways that they found, sister, to be able to keep us separate from each other, and that's the part that's the most saddest part. So going back to your question is like, how do we fix it? How do we bridge the gap?
Well, yeah, I
And
think
the
we
only
have
way the way I believe that we bridge the gap is to do exactly what I've been doing. We take people to Ghana, with the exception of COVID. During the whole time of COVID, I went back home 4 times.
Yeah.
I still was traveling. You know, First of all, COVID wasn't living in Africa.
Right.
The only reason why COVID, the only reason why COVID was living in Africa is so that we can get money. The greedy government can get money to be able to feed it to the people. Why can't COVID live in Africa? The humidity, the way
It's
we
too
eat,
hot.
everything that we eat is spicy. We have the neem tree. We have so many plants and everything that cures our bodies in Africa. You can't even get a cold in Africa. The only thing that you can get in Africa and die from, of course, is the malaria. But with the exception of that, we don't need that. That's like,
Well, I know, because remember they tried to say AIDS came from Africa?
oh yeah,
They had us
you
all
know,
food, child. All food.
yeah. So you look at all these different things that they have tried to blame on Africa, only to realize none of that was to the demise or to the fault of Africa. It was to keep us out. Why do you tell me, why to go to Europe don't I need a visa? But I don't need a visa to go anywhere else but African countries. Why? There was a way to be able, they found so many different ways to keep us out from being together with one another.
Oh, most
You know,
definitely. Especially, I feel like since they split the colonies up, because Africa used to be the largest continent in the world. Now Asia is leading in number one, and they're kind of separating, making really, if you look at it, all of what they consider the lighter color complexions all grouped together. Because now the Middle East is part of considered Asia now. So if you look on the map, the way they splitting it all up, I had a guy here from Egypt. It was funny because he's Egyptian, and they live here, but of course they're from Africa, from Egypt. So he was pissed because it's funny because we thought he was something else, like an Arab or something, and he was like, "No, I'm African." So me and my son bust out laughing at the time because he looks like an Arab. We like African. So he was telling us that, yeah, he was pissed off because in order to come here and for his daughter to even get the education that he wanted her to get, he could not label himself as an African. They wanted him
and
to
that
put
and
Middle
see, and
Eastern
that
American.
is
He's
where,
like, I'm from Egypt.
that is where all the degradation comes from. We come here. One of the other demises that hurt us as a people. Once we were able to travel. Oh, let's talk about the people during the gold rush. Do you know what the gold rush was?
I heard, but you gotta spike my
The
memory.
gold rush was in Europe, where they went over to the Caribbean and
I
brought
think
the people into Europe. And
right.
then up until last year, during COVID, some of those people got sent back home because guess what? They were never allowed to get the proper documents to be citizens in Europe, even though they were brought there during the gold rush era.
Oh
So
wow.
and there were certain jobs that people that were brought during the gold rush era were never to get gainful employment in Europe because they never had their papers.
Wow.
So there was only a segmented group of jobs that those people were able to get. But then when they brought those segmented group of people to Europe, now those group of people who were African said, well, I'm better than the typical African who came from Africa because I was brought here during the gold rush and I was accepted.
Wow.
But you still don't have your papers. You're still not considered as a citizen. You still don't have the typical rights of a regular European.
Wow. Wow.
So all these things that have been done to pit us against one another. the house Negro versus the non-Negro. Whether or not somebody should pay Harriet Tubman or somebody shouldn't pay Harriet Tubman. Or everybody fussing about Harriet Tubman, she was played by a woman who was born in England. And all the black people and the ADOS people were up in arms.
Oh,
because
really?
they don't. Yeah.
I thought she did an excellent job. She did a great job. Phenomenal.
She did a great job.
Phenomenal.
The same thing like with telling the Nina Simone story. Or telling any story. Go through any story and say whether or not they say whether somebody should be or should not be able to tell the story.
So I'm confused.
Why does Hollywood accept Idris Elba over a typical actor that has the same skill set as he does? Why do we have to go to Europe? Because the European black person is much more swallowable, palatable than the African, black person that was born in America.
That's true.
And so all these different things have been used over time to constantly keep us bitter.
Well, because they already have us labeled. You know what I mean? The same way they have the Jamaicans labeled, because Jamaicans were known to give them back some slack and not tolerate some shit. And so they went over and always so they know they'll make trouble. So they look at them differently than they do.
When you think of Africans, Europeans, they can't stand Nigerians.
Right.
They don't want nothing to do with Nigerians.
Right.
So they look at them as an aggressor.
Oh, of course they're aggressive. That's why they're crooks, they're con artists. They're, you know how many labels? They scam artists. They put that on the PPP loan too.
With those labels are the labels that are being used to pit the ADOS against Nigerians. When I tell you, if you hear the rhetoric of how ADOS people hate Nigerians, hate Nigerians, because they have been brainwashed over years to have all these concepts of a group of people. I've got about 25 robbers in my family. I've got about 5 rapists that I probably don't even know about. We all have those type of people in our family. Mm-hmm. So you're going to categorize me as a rapist. You're going to categorize me as a robber because of a body of people. Mm-hmm. So you put us all into a cesspool, and then you say,
but they should not have the authority to put us in that cesspool because they did everything to get us here. They didn't rape, rob, steal, murder, kill. I mean, that makes.
But this isn't going back to Christianity. How is the Bible so prolific? The Bible, the Word of God says, "Do not kill, steal, or destroy." Mm-hmm. You brought us here. You stole our land. You stole our gold. You stole our cocoa. You stole our diamonds. You stole everything from us. And then you killed us. You hung us from trees. You murdered us. And then you took the Bible and you tore out scriptures out of the Bible that we couldn't learn. We never learned how to read and write. Imagine, you and I are in a race. We both running the 600. We about to run 600, both of us, you and I. We side by side. You're lighter than me, based on the camera. The light-skinned black girl, you get to go 5 minutes before I get to go. And you running. And I'm trying my best to catch up. I can never catch up to you. You got a head start. Black people need to understand we can never be at the same level that they are at. And when we get so far, guess what we're going to do? They're going to find a way to shut you down because you're too successful. It's too much success.
Crazy.
And then we as a black people, I come behind and I'm like, I tell my homegirl, hey, the light-skinned black girl, because I hate her because she's always been treated better than me. My sister, she's running faster than me. When she gets to a certain point, pour milk on the thing. Pour some milk down there so that she could fall. My sister come out, she poured the milk down. The police see her. What the hell? They take her to jail. I'm disqualified from the race. You can't win the race. And now the white girl that was 3 steps behind both of us, she each other. So the reality of it is, until we start loving ourselves, until we start understanding that when you were born, you have certain gifts and talents that I don't give a shit if I start 10 podcasts.
Yes.
It's not going to be the same
It's
as
not
you
going to
have
be
a
the
podcast.
same. Yes, yes. And that's another thing. We need that on a race level, but we need that on a gender level as well too. We need that within our whole family dynamic to actually understand each other's strengths and weaknesses and move out on that alone.
And move on down.
And leave the ego and the toxic masculinity and the toxic femininity at the door. Because right now, it should be evident, you know what I mean, that yes, we're thriving in a whole lot of ways, but our children is dying. So how is that helping us if they are the future?
It doesn't.
How? Because we're so consumed, we're not really pushing legacy forward the way we need to push it forward. And that's evident because the successful businesswoman, they don't have too many children to push forward with legacy. Not at all. The ones that have 1 billion kids are in the ghetto. So at the end of the day, what legacy are we breathing if we're not pouring back into them?
None. You know what Rick Ross bought his son for his 16th birthday?
No, I don't.
The Wingstop franchise.
Oh, nice. But I don't.
Because Rick Ross, if you're going to look him up, he owns most of the Wingstop franchises in the South.
Yeah, I heard that. I seen that, I think, on Instagram.
The other rapper went and bought his son a Bentley. There's nobody in the cemetery. Do you think that Steve Jobs is in the cemetery right now, dead, and it's saying, oh, who's the richest person in this cemetery? No. Nobody in the cemetery is screaming, I'm richer than you.
No, they can't.
It doesn't matter. Your legacy is what speaks for you. Mm-hmm. Whatever your legacy is. The person who came up with this bottle top has a legacy. Mm-hmm. And his legacy has a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And it depends on what that legacy chooses to do with that money as to whether or not that legacy supersedes. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So Black people are so attracted to stuff. We live for stuff.
Well, that's because of survival mode. That's because of the era that we come out of. We're coming out of nothing, fighting for something, and them tearing it down. And they demonstrated every move that we made, especially here in America, every move that we made to unify, to come together, to pour our resources together, to create economies, they tore it down. So survival mode is all the way kicked in. And then, how tired do you got to be? From our ancestors being tired. Now, yes, it's up to us to keep it going because I truly believe we are the generation that is going to actually push towards economic independence. I truly believe that, but we're not going to be able to pull it off the way we need to pull it off, to put the right resources in place until the Black community, our entertainers, athletes, influencers, entrepreneurs, every last one of us pull our resources together to create some serious wealth. And wealth that would equal, if there's 224 years ahead of us in wealth, we're not winning. We're not even we're not even in the race. Their $27 in the neighborhood are 6.6. So what that says about us as Black people is we only trust the barbershop and the hairdressers to do our hair, and then our money is spent everywhere else. Because even if I shop with you and you sell lip gloss, or shop with you because you sell chains, you're getting all of your products manufactured in from.
I used to teach a class. I used to work for the University of Southern California, so I was a buyer for the whole university. Okay, I was the youngest buyer. Bought for the whole university. This football team. I did all the franchise negotiations for Lemonade, Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, California Pizza Kitchen. I did all the Panda Express, did the negotiations for them. And one of the things that I realized very quickly, is that we will get fed a little bit at a time. Mm-hmm. And the moment that they see that we're rising to the occasion, they find a way to slip it back. Mm-hmm. So what can I say to the 25-year-old me? Mm-hmm. I wish I would have used my resources better. Mm. I bought my first piece of property when I was 26. But the average child right now, the 26-year-old, they can't necessarily do that. You know, and yes, we are consumed with stuff because that's how we've been conditioned. Why? Because just like you said, survival mode. You're not gonna find a Jeffrey Dahmer in the hood. My kids go to a whole inner city school. I'm not worried about nobody walking in their classroom shooting it down. That's the furthest thing from my mind. I'm not worried about them being on opioids. What they doing? Smoking weed? Go sit down somewhere. The mindset, the shift of the mindset of people, black people are always in survival mode. Why do we angry? Why do you see most people, you go to New York, you be like, they mean mugging, they're on the train, everybody's mad. Everybody's in defense mode. Yes. Why? Because they're unsure. We grew up with this uncertainty, this uncertainty.
No confidence,
we don't have
hopeless,
no confidence, and not only that, but no trust for each other. Yep. Because why? Somewhere along the line, somebody threw milk on the field and caused me to fall. So now I'm blaming everybody who has a podcast because you did me wrong. You know, and you're very, very right when you said that we are forgiving for people who don't look like us.
More forgiving to them.
But we're not forgiving to us. You know, so my speech to us is that we got to do better.
Up top is the way it is, and the south is the way it is.
Okay, go ahead. Richmond want to share thoughts.
I have my own
ideology.
That word. I have my own ideology about why I feel when you go up top, they're more aggressive and we're more aggressive and we're more like standoffish versus in the south where they're more
family oriented, they more patient.
Cool,
I know I'm aggressive.
I think that I personally feel, I could be wrong, I feel like it all stems from slavery. I feel like the blacks that are up top in New York and anywhere up top are the slaves that ran.
They are.
You know, and those are the more, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Those are the slaves, the more ambitious slaves. These are the slaves that stayed and waited for slavery to be over down here. That's why they're so cool and calm.
They settled into, they settled
yeah, like they accepted that they were slaves and they was here till it was over. Probably was mad when it was over.
Right. No, I don't know if they were mad.
Mad as in, what were you going to do? As
far as, you know what I'm saying? Confused, like,
but
I wouldn't say mad.
That's what, all right, but I'm saying I feel like the up top people are just the more, you know, cutthroat, you know, the more like,
we're aggressive for sure.
Yeah, because we crabs in the barrel, we
and
out
we're
for
saturated too, because we're saturated and we're used to dealing with a lot. We can come off highly aggressive. And I think down here, they say, oh, no, y'all Northerners come and take over. And that's not what we're doing. It's just like a lot of them, we can't do this. It's going to take us all day. And because we're used to dealing with so many people, it's like, move out of the way. You do this, you do this, you do this. Let's get this together.
We're used to dealing with a city where if you don't move fast, you're going to lose.
Right. So we need to, that's what we need to bridge the gap on. We need to just bridge so many gaps. That is blocking, causing blockages within our soul. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why I chose the path to health and wellness. Because complete wellness is actually body, mind, and soul aligned. And when we align that, I look at that within our race. Once we align all of us, from the lighter version to the darker version of us, to actually unify and do something different, we will get greater results.
Start helping each other.
You know, the Kim Kardashians of the world, they want the big hips and the big butt, you know, but they don't want the label.
Because they want the identity. And I feel like a lot of them suffer from, you know, lack of, we just talked about that, superficial confidence. It's not real. It's all of this putting on face. It's not real confidence. And a lot of us struggle with that because of the trauma we came up out of. But at some point, you guys used to tell, you know, my daughter something that it's okay, you want to do the hair and all that stuff, but the moment you're uncomfortable walking outside in your rear form, there should be a problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem.
That's a problem. You know, the makeup is good. We all, especially women,
I'll even go further and give you an example. One of the things that bothers me in Ghana is that our little brown girls in 2021 that go to primary school still don't have their hair is shaven.
They don't have what?
But they don't have hair. They have, you know, and it's because maintenance and all those different things, the same reason why we were said we had to wear a uniform so everybody can look the same. You don't have to worry about clothes. And yes, economically, we can't compare what Ghana looks like economically in the school system to what our school system looks like here. These kids at Dorsey, they have to have a daily pass every single day. Every child has an iPhone. You may have 1 out of 25 children in Ghana in high school that may have an iPhone.
Oh, wow.
It's a total different dynamic. Yes, but then at the same time, if you're going to have a rule and you have a person who's a colonizer who comes and goes to school in Africa, then why can little Becky have hair and I can't have hair? Mm-hmm. And why does my sister, who's Ghanaian just like me, that goes to an international school can have hair, but I can't have hair? What we're doing constantly is we're creating this classist system.
But you know what I think it is? I still think it ties back into complete wellness, because I think what we need to do, especially with our brown little girls, as I know, I have one. Well, I have 2. My grandbaby. She's my chocolate coffee. I love her to death. But it's actually give them an identity early. You know what I mean? I think they need identity early on, so that they know who they are and making them comfortable in their own skin. Self-esteem and value has to be taught here. And that's what we're not doing. We're not teaching the sense of value
but
here.
They're not learning it in the school.
No.
The parents are not validating it.
But we can't depend on them to teach it in the school, because we know
but that's why I said the parents are not,
right.
The parents and
because
the
parents don't have it. I mean, they were lacking. I mean, after somebody pretty much beat you and ridicule you and take away all of your self-confidence, that's another thing, the reason why I was talking a couple episodes about the relationship between men and women, and why I feel as though women shouldn't be wait to be proposed to, because I feel like at the end of the day, if you're a woman and you have everything going on, you feel like, okay, I'm attractive, I got my job, my credit's good, I got my house and my car, and you don't value that enough to marry me in enough period of time, that does something to my self-esteem.
It does.
In the back of my mind, it plays like, what is going on? So it's not healthy. It's not productive. So it's going to do something. But if you're not a person who was taught value, you understand, or truly believe in yourself, you will lessen your standards and go downhill.
Plummet.
Yeah.
So we have to
and I think one of the things that you have to constantly do, like with my children, even though, with the twins, I have a boy and a girl. I have 2 different sets. I have a girl and I have a boy, and they're twins. I'm always making it a point to validate them for who they are, not just as twins, not just as the opposite sex, but for who they are as an individual. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to do. And we have to be willing to do the work ourselves. You know how many parenting classes I've gone to? You know how many times I'm always looking for another opportunity to learn a lesson for them? This parenting in 2021 is not like the parenting that I got. And I'm not saying that my parents were bad parents, because they weren't. But there are certain things.
They were running dictatorships.
It was get
down or lay down.
Right.
No, it was a dictatorship. Like now, the twins, they have more of an opinion. I want to know, how do you feel? Like, what do you think about that? Do you feel offended that I said X, Y, and Z? Okay, well, let's talk about that. Well, my mom looked at that as, you don't ask a child what their opinion is.
Yeah, so does mine.
But you do if you want to have a relationship with them beyond your house. You do when you don't want somebody else to infiltrate their spirit and to be able to get in there where molestation and taking advantage of and all those things start to come into play when they're not in your space.
And that's what plays a big part in their value too. I think a lot of times we let fear set in when we become parents, because we want to protect our children so bad that we try to dictate every move that they make, opposed to, I think our job is to observe them and look at their personalities and actually nurture who they want to be. You understand? After you give them those values, opposed to turning them into what we want them to be.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? And this is why we're getting the rebuttal from the kids.
Yeah, but you gotta have that balance. I remember when I went away to college, and it was like, I knew who God was. We grew up into one of these households where it was like Jesus, 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 God, 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 God. And I made a decision when I grew up, I'm not living my life like that.
Right.
Most of these kids now, they don't even go to church. No. You know how church was a foundational thing that we had in our life?
That's because of so much abuse, child. That's just done.
Yeah. The foundational church is not there. Kirk Franklin and his son. Love it.
What happened between Kirk
Love
Franklin
it.
and his son?
So basically, Kirk Franklin's son is suffering from mental illness. Bottom line, he's suffering from this. Yes, and so he has had these.
Why you love it that he's suffering from mental illness?
I love it because it exposed the fact that some people thought that his life was so fixated on being perfect. This perfect life, this perfect family, this perfect everything.
But Kirk Franklin came out and said that he was far from perfect.
Yes, he did. But then when the son exposed the fact that your dad said the whole litany of cuss words to you, but he was still parenting. He was being a parent in that mode. But then the son is saying, you did not nurture me. You nurtured the church. You gave to the church.
You know
the
what you just what you made me think of is when I watched the Clark Sisters. Did you watch that? Oh my God, you got to see it. The part where she raised him, and I actually loved the mom because I understood her fear and her pain. You felt it strong in that movie. But the time when she kept saying, I want you to do what God wants you to do, and she blatantly told her, Mama, I don't know the difference between what you're telling me and what God. Like that scene right there was so powerful in itself because we grew up with the super religious parents and grandparents that it was so confusing that you want to please them that you're just following. You're blindly following.
I remember it was a point when my dad had lost his job. And when my dad lost his job, we were in heavily. T.D. Jakes was one of my father's mentors, heavily in the ministry, heavily. Do you think that anybody at that church, my parents were paying tithes and offerings to the point where we wouldn't even have food.
Listen,
and that's how it is in Africa in 2021. There are parents that will go to church and give their money to the pastor and will not have enough funds to provide for their children.
Africa, now, don't get me wrong, and by no way take this the wrong way, because, listen, I'm critical on a lot of the religious institutions here in America. They out of pocket, out of line. But some stuff that I seen come out of Africa with the religious institutions based off of what you said was worse, I was like, how do they believe this?
But this is the thing, exploitation. My universe is how many blocks?
Yeah. They had a passport.
I don't have a passport. I cannot. The typical African cannot get a passport. They can't get a visa to come to the U.S.
No.
There's some villages, they don't have TV. They don't have running water. They don't know what's happening in the Western world. So if you're in a village and you tell me that worshiping your sweatshirt was going to make me have a better life, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to worship your sweatshirt because that's all I see.
But at what point did you realize that you're not having a better life worshiping this sweatshirt? That's the part that we
ask me how many people have a better life that go to these mega churches and you walk outside the mega church and outside the mega churches all homeless people.
Listen, I'm agree.
You know,
because what I notice all the way around the board, and this is what I share with my people, and this is why we have this platform to talk about different issues relating to us so that we can come up with solutions on how to move forward and unify us. At the end of the day, what I see, looking across the globe at the people who look like us, is trauma. In all fields. If they're thriving, I don't care if you're thriving to the best, to the lows, I see trauma. Because even if you're super fixed up, you're not standing 100% in your essence. I see trauma. I see survival mode. You know, I haven't seen anybody relax just yet.
My friend said last week I went to the spa with one of my girlfriends, and she's a therapist. She's sort of like, she don't know she's my therapist in my head, and I'm getting free services. But
you know what I'm doing.
And she was like, well, you're suffering from childhood trauma. I came home and I was just thinking about it. And do you follow Charity Cross?
Yes, I love Charity Cross. I'm actually reaching out for him to join the campaign that we're doing. I love Charity Cross. I watch all his videos. He is bomb to me. I love him.
And he did this thing on childhood trauma the other day. And it triggered me to make me start looking at my childhood trauma. My childhood trauma that comes from a place of being the oldest. Having to have all these steps that I did in my life it wasn't until I was like, I bought a house. Okay, is that good enough? Okay, I got an MBA. Okay, is that good enough? Because my parents created this life for me that did not dictate what I wanted for me.
Exactly.
It
and
was
they did it out of
on,
good intent. They did with very good intent.
Oh, very good intent.
Because they
but
were
then
in
what
survival
happens
mode.
is you went and then so you start going through your life and you're like, I'm not happy. This doesn't make me happy. This doesn't really make me happy. It took my mother and father getting a divorce and my dad dying, on the way to dying, and me taking care of him as a cancer patient for me to understand that my father loved plants and that he was basically a botanist in some sense of the form. Why? Because my mother hampered that thing. And because out of his fixation of wanting to have his family unit together, you sacrifice. So our childhood trauma stays, and he had childhood trauma, and she had childhood trauma. You know, and so all those different things, and we come together, and we never deal with it. We never get counseling. Women, hey, we get more points. Men, they don't have no points. Why?
Right.
Because most men, there's not an environment that's created for men to be able to say, hey, brother, how you doing? What's going on? What's going on with you? Or a podcast of saying, you know, hey, what's the podcast? Let's talk about how we deal with it as just brothers. And no woman can't come on this podcast. A woman has to sit and listen to the trauma that I dealt with as a man and actually see me cry. I would never tell my son not to cry. Because those same boys grow up to have a woman. And they don't know how to nurture that relationship because so you have so many people that walk around in unhealthy relationships because they never dealt with that childhood trauma.
That pain, that trauma.
That childhood trauma. And then we, the Christian parent, I have a problem, and I don't have a problem. Please don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with Christianity. I don't have a problem with the Word of God. But I do have a problem with Christians and how they behave and how they behave. Okay. There's some things that I remember one of my girlfriends in college, she practiced, she was a Muslim. And she was a Muslim under the Nation of Islam. I started going to the mosque with her because everybody on campus, we went to an HBCU. Most HBCUs are either Baptist or Christian or Methodist. And so our school was under the Methodist doctrination. Every Wednesday, we had to go to chapel at an HBCU, or you won't graduate. Those practices are still in place today, especially at private.
That's crazy.
Yes. And so she was practicing with the nation. And I started going with her. And it wasn't until then that I had all this Christian God, Jesus in my head. And I would question myself and say, well, why is this? You're not supposed to question God. You don't question me. I'm your mother. I'm your father. You don't question me. You're a child. You stay in a child's place. And it's like, how long do you stay in a child's place?
That's bullying.
And so you live your whole life just going through this trauma. And it's never, and like you said, it's never dealt with. So you carried on to your podcast. And then you are now the pastor of the church. And you're telling me that in order for me to be where God wants me to be, I need to worship your sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And my universe is only 6 blocks. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to worship your sweatshirt.
And make my universe 6 blocks.
And
give you all my tithes.
Because at the end of the day,
and not get a proper education and everything else, and stay looped in here because this benefits them and their legacy. It has nothing to do with
I'm telling you,
yours.
guess what I'm selling you? I'm selling you hope.
Yep.
And the reason why you believe in the hope is because when we walk out of church, I walk you to your Mercedes Benz. And you grew up in the neighborhood with me. So I believe that it could happen to me. You know, so going back to your long-standing question, how do we bridge the gap? How do we make the change? Will it ever be good for us as Africans? Yes. Will it ever be good for us as Africans living in America? On some aspects, it will not. But the only thing that I can say that we can do is if you live in your small community and you have your small community of network of people and friends, begin to bridge those gaps with them. And if you have the opportunity to go home and to be on the continent, bridge that gap so that those type of gaps are closed with each other. Begin to do business with each other, real business with each other. Begin to build partnerships with each other. And that is the only way that we will be able to close it small, 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 small. It may not ever get closed in our lifetime. There's going to be a whole different group of people talking about this when you and I are dead and gone.
Yeah, well, hopefully. I'm going to have hope that we're going to bridge it sooner and faster than what we expected, because we're moving at a faster rate now. It ain't each one teach one. We're in the mode of each one teach some. So we need to multiply that. So if we
I like the each one teach some.
Yeah, because we can't each one teach one no more. We have to teach some and multiply that because we're so far behind. So in order for us to do that, we have to keep having these platforms, these conversations, and not being afraid to have these conversations to move forward to do what we need to do, because we're gearing up to do the same exact thing, travel, and put travel in our plans so that we can actually sponsor some kids from the neighborhood to travel and see what it's like to even visit another country and not be afraid, because a lot of it is fear. Most of it is fear. And just to, matter of fact, we're going to tell everybody online to pause 1 second to hold on, because I can carry the phone out and go, because we're going to wrap up in here. But we can take this on. We can take it out in another few minutes. If Richmond, if you want to do that, got that right. And but we can actually keep creating, like I said, platform and different avenues and different fundraisers and different everything to get our children educated so that we can get the economics, so we can create some empowerment. In that order.
I agree. I agree with you.
In that order. Because
thank you so much for having me. I don't even know what we talked about, but I hope
that... Girl.
She don't know what we
you
talking
done
about.
said all of that, right?
We talked about a lot.
You covered a lot. You hit a lot of things on the nail. It was beautiful. It was awesome. And it was important. I definitely learned a lot.
I did too.
Yes, with all the WPs and the other stuff. Because, honey, I had no idea. I just thought we all was the same. And that matter of fact, I'm going to carry that. I'm going to let Rich Mo disconnect this audio, and then you're going to hear me directly in 1 second. Hold on. Can you disconnect
I
me?
might want to start it over because it'll end soon.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Matter of fact, I'm going to restart it and add you back really quick.
Okay.
No, what we do is... This is what we're
thank
gonna do.
Everybody for tuning in. Yeah.
We'll disconnect.
We're gonna come right
I'm
back
gonna
in
end
a few
it.
minutes. Yeah, so I can come back in a few minutes. Yeah, that's okay. She African. She move fast.
Real fast.
And we just African descent.
Right.
We African descent.
All right. Thank you everybody for listening. Same time next week. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to Black Ink Radio.
Turn up
the hottest station.